first started my reading journal, when I first set it up, I was so super excited. I'm like, yes, this is going to convince me to read more. Everything will be awesome. And it was for a while. And then I think it was October where we had to read a certain book for book club, and I'm not going to take any responsibility for it, but it technically was my monthly pick. Shh. And it put me into a giant reading slump, so I haven't done any reading in November, and I'm feeling a little bit sad about it, which is why I'm kind of excited, because today we're getting into my reading journal. We're going to fill in some pages, try and kind of like reignite that excitement for reading again, because I have a very exciting reading month planned for December, so I need to get back into the swing of things so that then I can make the most of that time. But hello, good morning, or good evening, depending on where you are. Let us get into it. Let me know what you're up to. What do you have with you? Are you going to be having a drink? Of course, I've got baby here, my Coke Zero, Tink, and we can get on in and do some work. Oh my god, I need a drink. Yes, anybody who was here on the live who is reading the little chat thread, before the stream I was like shoving a fruit mince pie in my mouth because I'm like, I really should eat breakfast of some description, because usually I don't, and we get to the 3-hour mark and my stomach is making more noises than my voice is, so I'm like, yeah, let's not have that this time. Had my fruit mince pie, very tasty. Alright, let's see. Perfect timing setting up your reading journal right now. That is so exciting. So I have written myself a little list in my regular journal of stuff that I want to get done, because there's a bit that I need to do. I've been neglecting my poor baby, but this guy here is from the Archer and Olive subscription box from September this year. Yes, September, which means that it is technically not available anymore, but it is an Archer and Olive notebook. But we can flip on in. So this guy here is my reading map, which is linked in the description box below if you want to grab yourself a copy of it, but I don't actually need to update anything on here. I don't use it to track things. It's more just like a fun kind of end page design. So I've got that one. Don't need to do anything for that. These are my page ideas. I probably won't be setting up any pages today, so don't need that one. And because I'm not setting up anything new, probably don't need my index. If you can hear any noises, it's because Vogel is bashing around in the other room. He's just, go to work. Go sit down. We've got my rating system for non-fiction and fiction ratings. If you guys want, at some point during the stream, we can come back here when I'm feeling a little bit like over-filling things in, and we can kind of explain this system. It's kind of self-explanatory in a way, maybe not so much from looking at it, but this is how I make sure that I'm kind of rating my books holistically and not just kind of getting to the end of the book and being like, wow, this was the best book ever. But it's that kind of end of book hype that you get, where like the last, I don't know, 100 or so pages kind of really picked up and really like, you know, punched you in the feelings. I try and take a step back and think about different areas, but we don't need to fill anything in here. This is more of a reference page. So flipping on over from that one. What we do need to fill in though are my TBRs because I don't have anything on them just yet, but yeah. And you love the star rating system. I'm glad. Yeah, I've got this one here is from like the structure of it is from G of Book Roast, but my take on it is like slightly different, just a little bit, but you know, because I can't just do things. I can't just like pick things up and be like, yep, this is good to go. I always have to make changes. Now, in terms of the TBRs, as you can see, I've split them into fiction and non-fiction because I just like to keep them separate so that when I'm kind of looking for a book to read, I can come to the two lists separately and consider which one might be more my speed at the time. But I've also got recommendations here. So recommendations are, funnily enough, recommendations. So ones that I haven't necessarily put on my TBR, but ones that I've kind of been interested in enough to actually warrant putting down on the list. Like if somebody gives me a recommendation and it doesn't really sound like my kind of party, then like I'm not going to write it in my journal. But if they give me a recommendation and it sounds genuinely interesting, then it can go here, which I notably have not filled in. So we're going to jump on over to my Goodreads so that I can see what I have in there, because that's usually where I save any kind of, what's the word? Things that I want to read. Oh my gosh. Can you tell my mind is just like all over the place today? Like it is most days, so is there really any difference? Let's see. Alrighty. Okay. Okay, do you guys use Goodreads? Because I find it to be the most not user-friendly website. I never know where to find things, and I don't know if it's just because I haven't spent enough time there, or if it's because it's genuinely confusing, right? I found that on the phone app, things are hidden in really random places, and then on the website, it doesn't seem to be much better. Read? Currently reading. To read. Okay, that makes sense. Probably doesn't help that I don't have like any shelf set up. Okay, so we're going to share with you guys so I can show you what I'm looking at. That will be that one. So this is my to read. It's just like most of it's really just a bunch of non-fiction things, because usually it's the non-fiction ones that I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting, and I just chuck it on my list. To actually have enough interest in something to warrant putting it onto my fiction list, that's a big ask. We'll zoom it in a little bit so you guys can kind of see what I see. So anytime I'm watching a YouTube video where somebody recommends like, oh yeah, this was a really good non-fiction, I just chuck it onto my list because I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. But I don't usually do the same for fiction reads. Let's say we use Storygraph is better. Yeah, I've heard a few people use Storygraph's website instead. I'm curious about it, but I'm just like, oh, I kind of built a space over here. It's not really much of a building kind of thing. It's only a list of 25 books. But this one in particular I really want to read. Okay, so I'm going to effectively transfer the ones that I still wanted to read from this list over to my non-fiction list. And then, yeah, I love this. Goodreads has a literal dumpster fire of a user interface. Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's one of the ones that feels like it's more popular than others, but at the same time, it just doesn't seem like a great website. You can import it from Storygraph? Oh my gosh. Okay, that's helpful. All right, I'm gonna write that on today's to-do list. Investigate Storygraph. We'll put it at the end of the reading journal list. That seems fine. So, investigate Storygraph. Alrighty. It's on there. Excellent. Alright, so that's nice to know. That makes it a little bit easier. Zoom out a tiny bit or pull the notebook down a tad. Wait, from here? Or this guy? Which one? This one? I mean, that one's... I don't know, is it a me thing? Like, this fits on my screen. We'll have to wait and see. So, effectively, most of my list on there is going to be non-fiction. And then I need to go and find some fiction reads that I might want to read and chuck those on the list too. Let's have a look. So, Building a Second Brain. Very much want to read that. Do I put tech? I think I should have check boxes so that I can check them off when I've done them, but I need to make sure that they don't interfere with other check boxes I have, because I want them all to look kind of the same. So those are dots because they're like just list entries. I don't think I have checkboxes anywhere else, do I? That's not a checkbox, that's just a dot. Okay, yep, so it's a little square that I've been using, so we'll do a little square. Yeah. So, building a second brain. Do you guys want to hear a sad story? It's quite sad. Okay, it's not that sad. I took one of these ones out in my car the other day, one of these pens, because we were going and doing some shopping, and I lost it, and now I don't know where it is, so I had to start a new pen, which means that it's not broken in. Does that make sense? It feels very juicy, which isn't a problem. I like a good juicy pen, but it's not, doesn't feel right. Closing of door, yet. Building a second brain. Let's see. You just watched a Tiago Forte interview with Jairo Carroll. Yeah, I saw that one come up the other day on my YouTube feed, which was quite, like, I was curious about it. Let's see. I don't know how to spell his name. Tiago Forte. But that one in particular I'm quite interested in because I feel like my digital spaces are not well maintained, and my information management in particular is not well maintained. You know how you either have good ideas or you find really good ideas and you're like, oh, that's really cool. And then I just forget them because I don't write them down anywhere. So having a system to actually organize that information, I feel would be really, really good. Alrighty, another one that we want to read is $100 million offers, because people keep harping on about it. And I quite like Alex Hormozy. He just seems like a good guy. And that's more of a business book. I'm not very business minded so much, but I'm interested in it. So, Alex Hormozy. Ooh! Member for 2 months. Exciting! Congratulations, Joe. I like it when YouTube tells you these little bits and pieces. Though one thing that I do not like about YouTube memberships, like, it has a lot of good things. I love that your names come up in colors. I love that you guys have your little icons. It's very cute. The thing that I don't like is that when somebody resubscribes in terms of the membership, it tells me that they've joined as if they were joining new, which means I'm like, oh, awesome, like, welcome. And they're like, I've been here for 3 months already. Like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Thinking Fast and Slow. That one looks interesting. Member for 12 months. Yay! That's very exciting too. See, like, look at this. It's got a little star. It's like shows up as like in green because you guys are special. Yes. Congratulations for being part of the team with a capital T. Alright. Thinking Fast and Slow. And this one is by Daniel. Damn, Daniel. I need to actually read his name. Kahneman. So, recently, like as in, 2 days ago, Vogel and I went shopping for a whole bunch of new desk setup stuff. And that means that my desk setup is completely different right now. So usually what we would have is that this would be where my journal would be. And then right in front of me would be where my screens are. So we'd have screens here where I'd put my streaming stuff. And then a screen over here where I'd have usually like something else. But my screens are actually over there now. So if I was trying to put my journal in front of my screens, it would be over here. And you wouldn't be able to see it. That means that for me to actually read off the screen, I have to like tilt my entire body to be like, oh, read over there. It needs a bit of tweaking so that I actually get into the habit of where I need to put things. Question of where you can find the map. So the map, in the case you missed it, this guy here, he is linked in the description box. I think it's like the first thing that comes up underneath the initial like, hey, let's go set up my journal today. If it's not there, it's because I recently updated it. It might need a refresh, but otherwise it's on my little shop, which is just Jashii.com. Yay! Little shop. Let's see. Okay, what else on this list feels like it should be on this list? Right, the unfair advantage I've heard a lot about, so we're going to put that on there. Did you change your streaming time? I have not changed my streaming time recently. I mean, my streaming time is always at 9 a.m. for me, but because of people's like time zone changes, not the word, daylight savings and stuff, it kind of like changes roughly around this time of year for people. So it might be different because of that. Unfair advantage. It's going to be really sad when this list is super long and that one has like nothing. The unfair advantage. And then this is by Ash Ali. Nice. Have you ever read The Lazy Genius? I haven't heard of that one. What's that one about? I mean, I could kind of guess maybe from the title, but I'd be interested to hear what you have to say about it. Let's see. Die with Zero. I'm gonna put these down like just a whole bunch of little boxes because they're all just taking up one line. So the boxes might as well go in first. Makes it a little easier. So die with 0. The pathless path. The thing with non-fiction reads is that usually they have kind of like a starting title and then a whole bunch of other stuff that comes after it. Like, Steal Like an Artist is called Steal Like an Artist. 10 Things Nobody Told You About Being Creative. And I'm like, I'm just gonna write Steal Like an Artist. Steal Like an Artist. Yeah, put some dashes so that we can write their other things in here. Let's see. Love this. I only just discovered your channel a week or two ago, but in the short time I've known about it, I have watched hundreds of your videos. Well, I'm not opposed to that at all. Thank you, Olivia. We love having you here. You can keep on watching some more of those 100 videos. Yeah, we've got quite a backlog. We talked about it last week about how to find things on the channel if you're looking for specific stuff, because there is quite a lot. Let's see. Have you read the A Court of Thorns of Roses series? Yes, it is one of the few series I actually have on my series tracker, wherever he is. He's later in the journal somewhere. Here he is. So the only series I have on here are the Sarah J. Maas series. So I started with A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm currently reading through Throne of Glass, but because I'm in my reading slump at the moment, it's not going super well. Why did you move? Go back over here. These sticky notes are not super sticky. We'll get to that in a bit. Anywho. Let's see. What else do we want? Probably some artist titles. Quote, quote. Reading. What's the word? Author. Author is the word I'm looking for. Austin. Cleon. And The Pathless Path is by Paul Millard. Okay, so this is the thing that I find about non-fiction reads, and I don't know if it's actually that much of an issue, but it kind of just makes me feel a little bit like, these are all dudes. Like, that's cool. Like, if they've got good information, I'm not opposed to reading a book by a dude, not even remotely. But it would be nice to read some more, I don't know, just not dude authors in terms of non-fiction. Like, Mel Robbins, I love her The 5 Second Rule book. That was great. I think I need to go find another Mel Robbins book to read at least. But what? Who else have I read? Let's go find it. Who else have I read recently? So Burnout was by female authors, but I didn't really like the book. And then we had Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before was also a female author, I believe, but that one I was not the target audience. What else do we have? How to Say Smart Notes was a dude. Let's see. Mental Fitness was a guy. And Make Time was 2 guys, but that book was freaking stellar. Love it. How many books do you read in a month? Great question. Very much depends. My record for most books read in a month is 5. That was a particularly steep reading month for me. Typically it's usually only like 1 or 2 reads. And that's why I know that I'm going to be putting like my 2024 setup in this journal, because this journal does not last me more than, or rather it doesn't last me any longer than, oh gosh, what am I doing? Words. This journal does not get filled fast enough to only last a year. That's what I mean. Let's see. Question. Yeah, Never Split the Difference. That one's on my list. It's just a little further down, I think, because it's an older or newer add to my list. It's somewhere on my list. It must be. Depends on how I'm sorting it, right? But I find that one gets talked about a lot as well. So I think that one's quite interesting concept, which I'd like to put in there. Oh, look, there it is. Never Split the Difference. I'm going to put that in too. Never split the difference by Chris Loss. Let's see. You are an artist. Assignments to spark creation. Oh yeah. I think there's one called like The Artist's Way. That one gets talked about a lot. Is that by a female author? I don't know. But that one does get talked about a lot. Show your work. Is also by Austin. And then Die with Zero is by Bill Perkins. Nice. With an S, because that's his name. Yep. There we go. Your partner is doing The Artist's Way and really likes it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because are they the one that talks about morning pages? I know somebody talks about morning pages, but I can't remember who. Let's see. The Measure. Haven't heard of that one. Yeah. I tried to read How to Take Smart Notes and noped out before I finished the intro. Like, that's completely fair. I think that the problem with that book is that the idea of it is really interesting. And the kind of like system in general, it would be nice to read a good book about it, but it felt like that book should have been a TED Talk. I feel like that would have been more to the point and usually more entertaining, that kind of thing. Whereas the writing style was not really for me. Probably doesn't help though that book is originally in German, I'm pretty sure, and then has been translated, so there's a little bit of kind of like clunkiness, I guess, to the English version of the read. Concept, very interesting. Book, not so much. Let's see. The Artist's Way is a female author. Alrighty, okay, we're gonna go look up The Artist's Way, because I'm gonna add that to my list, because I've been meaning to look into it. If I can actually find it. The Artist's Way, A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity by Julia Cameron. Alrighty, we'll put it on the list. By Julia Cameron. Excellent. Good opportunity. Tink. Let's see. So, I'm scrolling back and reading through comments. So there was a question about setting up for an aligned notebook. I do have a video about aligned notebook, like Deb said. I think it's one of our fairly popular videos on the channel. So if you go to the video section and sort by, I don't know, most watched, it'll probably come up in the first couple, maybe 4 or so lines of videos, something like that. It's not so much about how to, like, it's not like a how to set up, it's more like a how to use aligned journal in a way that people would typically use a doc grid. So I've just got some tips and stuff for that kind of thing. Let's see. So that's looking good. I've zoomed in really far so we can see everything, so I can't see anything anymore. Start with why. Oh, Simon Sinek. I like the way he speaks. He's interesting. Let's see. Yeah, question about morning pages. Does it count if you do them at the end of the day instead? I cannot say either way. I haven't read about the concept. I mean, it kind of says morning in the name, but like, eh. See, your flask is purple now. It means that you've been with the team with a capital T for, I don't know, quote, long enough to upgrade your conical flask. Start with Why by Mr. Simon. And then his last name is Sineke. Alrighty, that looks like a good little chunk of non-fiction reads. I do have some others on my list on Goodreads, but I think I want to look into them a little bit more before I actually commit them to say, like, yes, it needs to go here. His books are not as good, that's unfortunate, but hey, I'll have a good crack at it, and then maybe I'll get to add something to my, like, did not finish list, but we'll see. So, flipping that around, because I know that there is at least... Oh, I shouldn't have flipped it around. And by flipped it around, I mean I just sorted by most recently added. Because I'm like, oh, those are other books that I want to add to it too. Okay, so there's one called 4,000 Weeks. And that's about the idea that, like, the average lifespan is like 4,000 weeks or something like that. Beyond that, though, I don't really know what it's about. But it sounded interesting, and thus it is on the list. Clunk. Let's see. Oliver. Another dude. Probably. B-U-R. Berkman. Yep. Do you delete the entry in Goodreads when you write them in your journal? No. Only because this is the first time I'm writing them in my journal, so I haven't thought that far ahead about it. I probably won't delete it off my Goodreads one. But I don't know. I'm trying to consider what the benefit either way would be. Because like I like having it on my Goodreads because that's kind of where I've been keeping all of my book stuff already. But then it would be nice to just have this one be my most up-to-date version, so it's like a one place to check in with all of my reading stuff. So I'll need to consider that a little further. And there was one other one here that I wanted to write down, I think. No, I think I've lost it. Alright, so when it comes to my fiction reads, I have literally got one book on my Goodreads, like, to be read list that is a fiction book, and it's The Never King, because Rachel really liked it, and she keeps going on about it. So I think rather than putting it on fiction, I think I'd rather put it on my recommendations, because it's not, like, strictly speaking something she has recommended to me, but the only reason that it's on there is because she has read it. So are there any fiction reads that I actually want to read that haven't been recommendations? Haha, probably not. I don't usually get interested in things without people telling me that I should read them. I don't know. What's that one with like it's got the red thing on the front of it. It's like Blood and Ash. Is that a book? From Blood and Ash. That one keeps popping up as like, hey, you should read this. I'm like, okay, fine. That can go on the fiction list. From Blood and Ash, because that one technically hasn't been recommended to me by a person specifically. I've just been intrigued by it because it keeps popping up on, like, I don't know, anything that scrolls. Anything that scrolls that people are like, oh yeah, you should, like, read these 5 books this year or whatever. But I don't know what it's about at all. I'm just curious about it. Jennifer. Alrighty, there we go. Yeah, if you liked ACOTAR, you'd like that one. That's probably why it keeps coming up. The algorithm knows. The algorithm's like, hey, we're going to show you all of these ACOTAR memes, and because you seem to really like those, we'll show you this as well. The problem with that is that, especially with these book series that are like kind of, a lot of the fandoms kind of overlap, you know, so like people who like ACOTAR, they really also like, you know, Throne of Glass and other Sarah J Maas things, and then they're really into Fourth Wing and all of this kind of stuff as well. That's not to say that everybody is, but there's decent overlap. But that means that scrolling through social media, like, you know, reels or whatever, can be kind of dangerous if you are allergic to spoilers like I am. Like, no, I don't even want to know the character's name. Don't even talk about it. I don't like seeing people, the videos where people are like reacting without actually saying anything about the book, but I'm like, great, now I know that at some point in the book I'm going to be gasping and going and squee and like all of that kind of thing. Like, no, I don't want to know that. That's a spoiler. There we go. Okay, so that can go on the list. The other one that we were putting on, which was not specifically for this one, but was for a later one. Need to be careful because this pen takes a while to dry in this journal specifically, and I've been caught out a couple of times by that. You might be able to see on my tracker list here. Let's zoom you in by bringing the journal up really close. You see how that one's got little smudges on it? Makes me a little bit sad. That one in particular was upsetting, but that's because the pen didn't dry completely. I'm not too sure if it's the paper or if it's the pen, or probably just the combination of the two together, but I've been finding that in this notebook in particular, I've been having a lot of smudging, which is a little bit sad. Anyway, so that one's for the fiction read. This is a very unbalanced list. I will also say, if you guys are into reading, and if you want to talk books with people who enjoy them and stuff like this, over on our Discord we do have a space that's just for chatting about reading. We have our book club space as well, obviously, but we have the book chat where you can jump over and chat with people about books and stuff like that. So if you wanted to join our Discord, there is a link to it in the description box, but it's effectively like we have all of these little channels, and one of them is about book chat and people just talking about different things that they've been reading, whatever, sending through little reading memes and stuff like that. We also have people set up things like buddy reads over there. So if you want to read a particular book or series with other people, then, for instance, people have been talking about Fourth Wing and Iron Flame over here, so that then other people don't get spoiled. People were reading the Plated Prisoner series, ACOTAR series, all of that kind of thing. So if you want to come join us, it's free to everybody. We'd love to have you there with us. So link in the description box if you want to pop over there and join us. Otherwise, maybe I'll just chuck it in the chat if I can remember what the link is. Let's see. bit.ly, Jason Sanders, Discord, something like that. I think that's right. Hopefully. Yeah, everyone in the Discord is the best. Yes, we love the Discord. And like we said, it is free for everybody to come join. So if you want to come and hang out with us, feel welcome. We would love to have you there. Alrighty, so scrolling back over to my other screen. The one we were putting here is a recommendation from Rachel. We technically have a recommendation from Monica as well, but Rachel's recommendation, even though she didn't technically give it to me, I just stole it from her really enjoying it, was The Never King. There we go. In terms of rating, can't give it a rating until I've actually read the book, so that one can stay there. Did I turn you guys back off autofocus? I think I did. There we go. Alrighty. Otherwise it starts to focus on the end of my pen and it goes in and out of focus, and nobody wants that. It's not the business. So The Never King can go on there. The other one that we can put on here is from Monica, because she keeps harping on about it. Yeah, lovingly. Monica's recommendation is to read Fourth Wing. She also has recommended Crescent City, but I've already committed to that, so I'm not going to put it in the recommendations list. So when it comes to a DNF, I don't even know how to really explain the way that I kind of think about a DNF, but like, to me, technically, I have started reading Queen of Shadows. Is that what it is called? I can't remember. It's whatever the book is in the series of Throne of Glass. Like, Queen of Shadows. Yes, Throne of Glass number 4 is technically what it is called. But because I have gotten myself into this reading slump because of that damn book that we read for book club, I just haven't gotten back to it. And technically speaking, I started reading this, according to my Goodreads, on the 21st of October. And it's now a month later, and I haven't really picked it up in 3 weeks. To the extent where I feel like if I am going to read that book, I'm going to need to start it again. I'm like only 6 chapters in. It's not really a problem. So that's why I'm thinking like maybe I chuck it down on my DNF list. Because technically, in this version of reading it, I haven't finished it. I'd love your opinion on this. So like, that's the situation I find myself in. Like, I have started reading it in October, and I have kind of put it down and decided that, like, it's not where I'm going right now with my reading, but I'm going to pick it back up again. But when I pick it back up again, I'm going to have to restart it. So does that count as a DNF? Je ne sais pas. The other book that I've been reading, and I've been reading it since, like, the start of 2022, like April 2022, I don't think I'm going to read that. It's good information, And the guy who writes it was like kind of funny, but he also feels like he's very high on his own drama, if that makes sense. He's like, oh yeah, I did this and it was awesome and it was easy and you can do it too and rah rah rah. I'm like, yeah, and you wrote this book in like 2011. So like maybe, I don't know. Let's see. What do you reckon? I think it's a DNF. For me, a DNF is one where I have no intention to finish. Alrighty, okay. So you guys reckon it was probably only a DNF if I don't finish it. Alright. So yeah. Was it Once Upon a Broken Heart that got you messed up? No. Once Upon a Broken Heart I only just started, and I started it yesterday because I do want to get that underway before the book club meeting. Not that, well, the book club meeting's in like 2 weeks, so I've got a bit of time. But yeah, unfortunate. Do you finish things out of spite? I love the idea of that. Yes, I have totally done that. No, then put it on the DNF because you won't pick it up again. Alrighty, okay. Yeah, only if I have no intention of finishing it. In that case, then we are going to call time of death on the 4-hour work week today. So today I have decided that I am DNFing the 4-hour work week because that's the one that I've been reading, quote, quote, reading since April 2022. So date today is the 20th of November 2023, and it is the 4-hour work week. That one we are calling time of death. And we're gonna remove it from my Goodreads as like a I'm finished with you. I guess that's also a question. Like, how far through a book do you guys have to get before you say, like, you know what, I read this book. But, like, even if you didn't technically finish it. Like, if you're a chapter out at the end, do you still consider it to be, like, a book that you read? Or do you have to 100% finish the book to consider that as, like, I read the book? That is also a question I have. Also, I feel like the brightness on my light here feels a lot brighter. And it's probably because it's just a lot closer to my desk than it used to be. So I think I need to play around with that. Let's see, a 100% finish. Yeah, because I kind of feel like if I get 65-ish % of the way through a book, maybe 70. If I get 70% of the way through a book and I've had my piece with it, I'd be like, yeah, I read the book. It's like, yeah, I read Michelle Obama's autobiography. I did not finish it, but I did read it. It's one of those like partial credit kind of things. I kind of feel like, you know, you did enough of it to consider it most of the way done. Then I'm trying to think of like what other scenarios would I ever apply that same logic to. No, let's say, yep, there you go. You guys say nope, and 70% is a DNF. Oh, interesting. Well, then in that case, Michelle Obama. But that's outside of the date range that I've set for myself. So this list of DNFs only counts from the 1st of January this year. So that means that, yes, the 4-hour work week we are somehow removing from my currently reading. Do I know how to do that? No, because Goodreads is not a just intuitive place to be, I swear. But it's all good. I'll figure it out at some point. So that is my recommendations and DNF list. They looking good. Then we get to my books read. So you can see that the last book that I completed was How to Take Smart Notes, the book that put me into a reading slump. And that was on the 27th of October. So we're kind of coming up into the 1 month since I finished a book kind of space, which is not necessarily a sad place to be, because technically, prior to this year, that is very typical for my reading. I was not, and I still don't really consider myself much of a reader, but I am not necessarily worried about not having finished a book in a month, but I would like to get back to it because it was a habit that I was building that I felt good about. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah. Create a shelf for DNF. Alrighty, I'll have to figure out how to do that because, yeah, Goodreads doesn't like me. Or maybe I just don't like Goodreads. So I don't actually think I have anything to add to this list just yet, because I only add titles into here once I have completed them. So for instance, I am currently, in theory, reading Queen of Shadows and reading Once Upon a Broken Heart, but I won't add them onto this list until I've actually finished them. Something that I probably should update are my ratings, because I have most of them in here, but not all of them. But that's because it was only about August-ish that I actually started, or maybe July. June or July or August, somewhere in there, where I started deciding like, hey, I'm actually going to rate the books that I'm reading, because prior to that I just read them and be like, oh yeah, it was good, and then just move on to another one. But with this new journal and having my rating system, I have been trying to make sure that I do go back here and rate the books. The only issue we have here is that some of these ones that I don't have a rating for, it's not that I don't remember them, it's just that I don't think I remember them well enough to actually give them a proper rating, but we're going to try. Okay, so as a way to explain to you how my rating system works, we're going to attempt to rate a book. And the one we're going to attempt to rate is going to be one that I read the most recently, so we're going to do, let's see, Court of Silver Flames was the 6th of September, so that is the most recent unrated one, so we'll do that one. So what we do here is we take the book, A Court of Silver Flames, and we flick ourselves back to my rating system. Okay, so for this one we have either non-fiction ratings or fiction ratings, because I feel like that you just need to consider different things for each of them. It's just a little easier to have different systems. For my non-fiction ratings, this one in particular is targeted towards like self-help, personal development, that kind of thing. So not all non-fiction rating systems or not all non-fiction books would benefit from this system, because that's the type of non-fiction that I personally like to read. Yeah, that's right. Monica's here because she's like, yep, it's rating time. We're rating Silver Flames. So that's what we're going to be. We're going to be using this list. So when it comes to this system, it's called the Core Pile system. As said, it was developed by G over at Book Roast. I do a similar version to hers, just slightly different. So the main point of sameness is the idea of these descriptors for Core Pile. Our non-fiction is different, so we'll just focus on fiction. So C is for characters, A is for atmosphere, W for writing, P for plot, I for intrigue, L for logic, and E for enjoyment. And then what you need to do is you go through each of your categories and give the book a rating in each of those categories. What G then does is that she takes the ratings across all of these on a 10-point scale, and she averages them to find an average out of 10 or whatever. Monica can tell me if I'm wrong, because I haven't actually looked up her system in its completion, because I was like, no, I'm going to take your idea and I'm going to roll with it, but different. She takes her average, and then based on what her average is, she has kind of like brackets for each of them to say like, hey, if it's like, 0 to 1.1, it gets this rating. If it's like 1.2 to 2 point whatever, it gets this rating. I found that system to be strange, because if you're going to assign values to each of these categories, why not just take the average as your rating? So that's how I do it. I like to think of it as each of these gets an equal weighting in my system, and then once I average them out, it's going to give me my average star rating. I also don't like a 10-point scale, because I find a 10-point scale gives me way too much wiggle room for things. Like, how do you actually decide between a 6 and a 7? And then beyond that, I also have a tendency to then want to say, oh, it's not a 6 or a 7, it's a 6.5. So then it's not a 10-point scale anymore, it's a 20-point scale, and that's just ridiculous. So what I do instead is that I only grade these out of 5, and I allow myself to use the halves. So technically you could consider it to be a 10-point scale, it's just that I like to use halfway marks, so that's what I've got. So this is my star rating scale. So for each of these, I'll go through it. I go, okay, for characters, here are some different things that I consider when, thinking about the characters. Where does it fall on my 5-point scale? So for A Court of Silver Flames, let's have a think. questions. Are the characters memorable? Were the secondary characters distinguishable, important, additive to the story? Did you care what happens to the characters? Were they multidimensional? Do you understand their personality? Can you describe them easily? And this is why I do like to try and rate things a little bit closer to having finished the read, because it's just a little bit easier to do. I will say that in terms of the characters in that book, I did really enjoy all of the characters. I don't think that there were any that stood out as like, hey, why the heck are you even here? I mean, there are certain characters that I got frustrated at, but I think that was kind of intended. So we take that idea, we go to the scale, we say, okay, was it a 0? Which is what even the... No, it was not a 0. So we go to a half star. Okay. A half star is, this is abysmal, it needs serious work, this shouldn't have been written in terms of the characters. That's obviously not the case either. We're going to go to the other end because, again, I really enjoyed this book and I did think that the characters were really good. So a 5 star is like a heck yeah, one of my favorites, faux show kind of a thing. Like, this is absolutely perfect. Was that perfect? No. I do not think that the book was perfect in terms of its characters, but I did really enjoy it. So let's take a step back. 4.5, excellent. Maybe one little problem, but that's it. Versus 4 being like, it's great, a couple of problems, but nothing major. I think I'm probably going to give that read, in terms of characters, a 4. I thought it gave us really good insights into how our like main character was thinking, because we had been introduced to this character earlier in the series. It really changed my opinion on that character, I felt. I'm trying to keep this very vague because I don't like spoilers. So for characters, in terms of our core pile rating system, I am going to give this read a 4. We're going to get a little piece of paper out and write this down. Okay, so core pile. Oop, that's a 4 instead of an E. There's the 4. Okay, so 4 for characters. Then we go to atmosphere. Okay, so atmosphere, how immersive was the read? Were you able to picture the setting, characters, creatures? Was the energy in the scenes palpable, or was it not convincing? Now, again, this is why I like to rate it a little bit closer to the time of reading it, but it is fine. So we'll go to our scale here. Let's see. So 3.5 is like, this was good, nothing groundbreaking, but a decently good read. 4 was great, a couple of problems, but nothing major. So that's probably roughly in the region that I'm thinking for the atmosphere. Like, it was pretty good. I found that, you know, we were introduced to, or we got to, not necessarily introduced to new places, but we got a little bit more of a in-depth look at a couple of new places, which was nice, or places that we'd been before but didn't get to see them in the same kind of way. So I think that that's probably roughly where I'm going to stick with atmosphere. So I'm going to put 3.5 to 4. I'm going to pick one by the end of this, but that's where I'm thinking at the moment. Effectively, as I go through and start assigning these numbers, I kind of see how they average out at the end once I finally get to having rated them all and taking my average. And then once I've got my average rating, I'll come back to this scale and be like, okay, does that actually fit? Or like, you know, do I need to have a little bit more of a consideration? The issue is that if I didn't use core pile, if we took this away, I would strictly scale it based on my enjoyment, which is a fickle thing because my enjoyment flip-flops from day to day, year to year, all of that kind of stuff. Writing. Was the prose to your liking? Unique? Well done. Was it easy to follow? How was the dialogue to narration ratio? Did it flow well? Was it well edited? Would you pick up another book from this author? Well, I would definitely pick up another book from the author, considering I'm now reading another series by her, so that's fine. I will say that I think that there were certain parts that kind of irked me a little bit, but I think it was mainly just because in this series, the first 3 books are written from first person, and then the book that we're currently reading, this one, which is like 4 or 5, depending on how you, I don't know, number them, was third person, and that kind of threw me, but it wasn't that big of a deal, so I'm going to give it a 4.5. Because it was well edited. I liked the majority of it. It was just that one point that I'm like, so maybe one little problem, but that's it. Yeah. P, plot, pacing. So this is where I get myself a little confused, because pacing to me, I often like knee-jerk responses to consider that in writing rather than in plot. So I need to come back to this page and actually refer to it so that I don't double dip on what I'm giving a rating for. For instance, like if I kind of knocked writing down based on pacing and then knocked plot down based on pacing, I don't think that would be fair. In my mind, all of the different elements get an equal weighting. So if they're considered in 2 points, that's not a good way to do it. If that kind of makes sense. So, P for plot. Was the pacing good? Were there any parts that felt tedious or dragged on? Was it satisfying? Were the reveals worth the journey? Did the plot surprise you? Was it unique? Has it left you wanting to know more? Was it too complex? I think there were some minor parts of the story that felt like they dragged on a little, but it didn't really bother me because I was still enjoying hearing about the characters so much. So I would say that the pacing was good. I would not say that the pacing was perfect. Let's see. Any parts that felt tedious or dragged on? Was it satisfying? Were the reveals worth the journey? I think that they were fairly decent. I think that the ending of the book all happened kind of in a rush, but that's more like a pacing thing, and it is kind of very much the style of the author as well. That you kind of have like big crescendo at the end, that kind of thing. But this one in particular felt a little bit more rushed than previous ones. Not necessarily in a way that's like super bad, but we're going to put that down as a 4. So, what would we have? Great, a couple of problems, but nothing major. Did not really, detract from my overall enjoyment of the book. So, intrigue. For I, were you wishing you could be reading this book instead of doing other things? Did it take mental convincing to pick it up? Were you eager to see where the story goes? What happens to the characters? How things would evolve? Yes, I do believe so. This is usually where I rate it kind of based on how long it took me to read in a way. Because if a book is really captivating and something that has really kind of hooked my attention, I'll often read it over like 2 or 3 reading sessions and it'll get done in less than a week. Otherwise, if it's not really captivating me, for instance, How to Take Smart Notes, that I literally fell asleep to more than once. Like trying to read that book, but that wasn't the case for this one. So I think that that's probably, in terms of our intrigue, maybe a 4.5, only because at the start of the book, because it was a character that I was just not really enjoying, I just kind of didn't super want to pick it up. It took me a little bit to get into it, but then once I was kind of won over and convinced, like, okay, I like your style. We'll go with what you're talking about here. We can see where this goes. L, logic. Were the characters' motives clear and did they act in accordance with them? Were you able to follow the rules of the world? Were there plot holes or things that didn't make sense? Was the world building sufficient, clear / overwhelming? We'll also say the majority of these descriptors also come from G. Some of them have slight wording changes so that it could fit in my journal, or it just kind of fit more with like how I kind of envisioned what each of these descriptors were, but most of the wording is from her. So, logic. Again, this is why we like to rate things a lot closer to having finished them. I don't remember there being much of an issue. I will say that I think that one of the parts that happens at the end of the book, again keeping it super vague, the outcome from the scenario that some of our characters found themselves in was not convincing, but if it was to happen, I'm going to say in real life, quote, quote, because this is a fantasy read, so this wouldn't happen in real life anyway, but if this were to be a real life kind of thing, I don't think that that's how things would have played out, but I wasn't so unconvinced that it kind of took me out of the read. So I'm going to go with maybe a 4 to 4.5 on this one, because again, we can tweak around with these to make it fit what I actually think the book is kind of worth in terms of the overall rating. Enjoyment. Did you enjoy the book overall? Was your enjoyment consistent throughout? I'm going to give it a 4.5 for enjoyment because that start of the book where I was kind of like not super convinced that I wanted to read it. And this is where I know that I have issues with reading other people's reviews before I read a book myself. The reason that I probably was hesitant to get into this read is because I knew that Rachel, my best friend, was hesitant to get into this read. So her hesitancy has kind of like played on my mind with that. So if we go and have a look at my little Corpar rating, I hope you guys are really excited to see the world's ugliest Excel document that I have for this, so that I don't have to try and do the calculations myself. Okay, so we're gonna take my little piece of paper here, my little rating system that I have, and we're gonna try and get it to focus. Thank you. So we had a 4 and a 3.5 to 4. We can put it in my little ugly rating system here. So that was a 4. We're gonna put 3.5. We're gonna just start with the low ones. 4.5, 4, 4.5, 4, 4.5. Okay, so zooming in, according to this, this one tells me that the overall average for this was 4.14, which means that on Goodreads, I should give it a 4, because Goodreads only does full amounts, but then the overall star rating should also be a 4. You can see sometimes this changes, because, for instance, Goodreads doesn't have that half star, whereas my overall rating for How to Take Smart Notes really should have been a 2.5, if that kind of makes sense. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. We've learned from 2023 that we don't always like the same books. Yes, I know that. I just let other people's opinions weigh on my mind when it comes to reads. That's why I try to stay out of the certain kind of channels that we have for each of the book club books. I kind of stay out of there until I've finished the book club book. Otherwise, I let it sway my opinion. Oh, also, tink. So, according to this, what was the book again? A Court of Silver Flames. There we go. So, if we go with the lower ratings for each of Atmosphere and Logic, that's what we end up with. If we go with the higher ratings for it, we're just going to copy it across to the other one so we can see it at the same time. Makes it a little easier. So that was a 4 for the other one, and a 4.5 for Logic. Not a 1, 4.5. So that would change my overall star rating to a 4.5. So that's where I come back to my little kind of descriptor table that we have over here. And I think, okay, for this book, A Court of Silver Flames, was it a 4-star read? Great, a couple of problems, but nothing major. Or was it a 4.5-star read? You know, excellent, maybe one little problem, but that's it. I think that from my remembering of this book, it is more likely a 4-star read for me than it is a 4.5. So that's going to be what I want to overall rate the book. So if we come back to my little rating system here, so 3.5 for Atmosphere versus 4, I think that 3.5 for 4. I feel like you might be a 4. But then if we go to Logic, which was 4 versus 4.5, I think that 4 for Logic actually holds. So that gives me the overall rating of 4 stars on Goodreads and 4 stars in my journal. Kind of makes sense? It feels a little bit involved, and oftentimes when I do these ratings, I'll do it via conversation with somebody, because I find that actually talking through with someone about my read is a much better way to get a more holistic view of what the book was actually like. I always try to do this closer to finishing the book, but not too close to finishing the book, because oftentimes if I've just finished reading a book, I will end up rating the book higher than it's kind of, I'm not going to say like worth, because that's not really what I mean, but I end up rating it higher than is actually kind of reasonable for what I experienced with the book. So anywho, let's flip back over here. We're going to give it a 4-star rating. So question, is this spread in printable format? I do not have a printable of this guy here. Not necessarily opposed to making it, but I probably wouldn't make it in terms of like a scanned copy of my one, just because it's kind of like, it's not ugly, but it does have some blemishes that would be hard to remove. I don't know if you can really see it down here, but this is where we had some kind of like smudging happen through there. And we've also got some over here somewhere, but I think I might have kind of gone over it with white gel pen. I wouldn't be opposed to making a typed version of this for you, but I haven't done it yet, if that makes sense. So, let's see. I need a fine pen. Do I have a fine pen anywhere nearby to put in my star ratings? I like to use a fine pen to start so that then it doesn't end up with kind of blobular stars. Creak, creak goes the chair. Alright, we'll do an O2. Yeah, O2. So, little stars in here. One, two, three, and 4. And just make sure that they look kind of nice, neat, presentable. Then we can color them in. I would prefer to have some kind of like tape or sticker for these. I just haven't invested in one. I do technically have the stars from the Arch and Olive sub box, but they don't fit in the spaces that I have because they're a bit wider than half a centimeter. There we go. We can color those in. Because I probably would have preferred not to have these in black as well, but then I started doing them in black, and now it's gotten to the point where it's like, oh, you're too, not like hard to fix, but it would be time consuming to fix, and I couldn't be bothered. I couldn't be bothered fixing them. They are fine the way they are. So there we go, that is our 4-star read. I am not going to go and rate the other ones, only because, so this is Ever After, I can barely remember. It was from March that I finished reading that book, so that doesn't count. Heartless was the same, and then like same idea with all of these pretty much. They're all just like from too early in the year, and I'm not sad to not have ratings for them, to be honest. Like, it doesn't weigh on my heart. Yeah, see, I like the idea of a little rubber stamp, as long as it would be like a one of those see-through stamps. I'd also have to get an ink pad, but a see-through stamp would be good because then I'd actually be able to line it up with the dots. If they started going skew with cattywampus, that would irk the ever-loving heck out of me. But this is looking good. Make sure that it's dry. There we go. Yes, very nice. We haven't finished any other books, but we have plenty of space to record them in once they actually get read. So, books read, we are done with. We are on to quotes that hit. Now, I don't have any standout quotes that I can think of right now. It's going to be the kind of thing where I have to go back through my reads and have a look at my highlights. I read all of my books, pretty much all of my books at least, digitally, like e-reader kind of style, just because I prefer to not have the, this might be sacrilege to some people, but I prefer not to have the clutter of physical books. Mainly because I don't have a displayed bookshelf at the moment, so it's not like I'd have them out to look at them and be like, oh, my books, they're so pretty. So that's not really a factor I consider. And then I also don't really have that much space in my, what's the word? What are you? Cupboard? Yeah, in my closet. I don't really have enough space for physical books in that, yeah? So I don't find it to be necessary to have physical books like that. Use mostly doing e-reader style. I'm not opposed to audiobooks, but I prefer audiobooks if they are fiction rather than non-fiction. Mainly because with non-fiction I like to take highlights and stuff like that. So let's see if I can find you an example. What's a book that I read recently that I might have actually taken highlights? Ooh, my iPad is super low in terms of battery. Problematic. So, according to my recently read, so How to Take Smart Notes, technically, was a book that we read recently. Books, where are you, books? Okay, we're just going to use one that's just better because I love it. So, I'll go through like this. This is Make Time by Jake Knapp and John Zaratsky. So this one had a bunch of different highlights. So this one's about the busy bandwagon versus the infinity pool and how they kind of like suck up all of our time and attention and it's not really for the best. What else? this one. Make time as a framework for choosing what you want to focus on, building the energy to do it, and breaking the default cycle so that you can start being more intentional about the way you live life. See, that highlight is mainly for information rather than being one that's like, oh, I really need to write that down. So you see, the only quote that I have in here so far was actually from probably my lowest rated book of the year, which is kind of funny. But this one is, blood doesn't mean anything without love. And I think that was just kind of a nice quote because it kind of reflected how I think about family. Because I know a lot of people hold family as one of the most important things in their life. And like, that's fine. Totally fair. You do you, boo. But for me, family is not who you are blood related to. It's like who you choose to be in your life, if that kind of makes sense. So I'm very big on the idea of like found family and the idea that like friends can be more important than family based on, just the way people are and stuff like that. So that quote was nice and that's why I kept it there. I don't think I have any quotes at this point that kind of like stand out in my brain hole as like we should totally put that down on my list. It might be one that I have to kind of go through and have a think about. Oh, do we have a question for me, Deb? I just saw you put in the reminder about tagging me for questions. I love question time. I'm just very bad at actually seeing when people put questions in the chat. I'm sorry if you had a question and I missed it. All right, so quotes that hit. We will come back to you once I actually go through my books and find some quotes. So, series tracker. Throne of Glass is book 4, but Assassin's Blade is before it. So did I tick off I must have ticked off Assassin's Blade because I ticked off 4, which means I have the first 3 reads, and then Assassin's Blade, and then Queen of Shadows. How many books are in that series? I don't know. We need to go to Goodreads and have a look. Hello, Sarah J. Moss. Please tell me how many books are in your series, but you probably won't in a nice way because Goodreads hates me. Okay, so Throne of Glass has 7 books in theory. Big theory that. So we have the Assassin's Blade being like the middle, but also the pre-story. And then we have, I'm just going to count these out. Okay, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, which was not my personal favorite. Then the Assassin's Blade, then Queen of Shadows, then Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and then Kingdom of Ash. So I should have an extra dot here. Should there be an extra dot? Monica, where are you? You're supposed to tell me things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But then Assassin's Blade, right? Right. Yes? Question mark. Where is my dot pen? There we go. I'm glad that you guys love physical books. I love the aesthetic of a very well-stocked bookshelf, but I also don't like keeping things that aren't... how do I word this? Because it's not so much like that aren't providing value, because that's not really what I mean, because I think that aesthetic elements also have a value as well. But because I don't tend to read them in a physical format, I don't see much use of keeping them in a physical format. Like, if you're a physical format reader and you have a stocked shelf, oh, heck yeah, beautiful, gorgeous, chef's kiss. I just don't do that. Okay, we're gonna redo this because I'm gonna get myself confused again. So we have Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Assassin's Blade, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, Kingdom of Ash. Okay, yes, I need another dot. There we go. There's another dot there now. It's one of the things that, like, if I put the dot in and it's not actually supposed to be there, I'll just put a sticker over it. It's fine. And then Crescent City, I'm pretty sure, only has 3 books and one of them isn't out yet. Alright, that's what I'm thinking right now. Now, as it stands, yes, I will probably read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, which I lovingly called Iron Flame in my mind hole. But because I haven't started it, I'm not going to put it down. Which is an interesting point because, like, I technically haven't started Crescent City, but that one's written down. But because I have started on the Sarah J. Maas universe, I have put it down. One that I will put down here, though, because I'm pretty sure that's a series, is the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. That one is a series, right? I don't know how many books are in that series. And, I mean, technically speaking, I haven't even finished the first one, but because Rachel keeps harping on about it, I'm sure it's good enough to warrant putting on my list. You were going to call me out. What are you calling me out for? Don't call me out. Oh my gosh. Leave me alone. So, Once Upon a Broken Heart is called the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Once upon a broken heart. So I guess the question is, how many books are in this series? You only buy your 5-star in physical form? Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. In my mind hole, that makes sense. Also, tink. So, I'm also trying having my drink over this side rather than that side, so I'm like kind of leaning across weirdly, but I'm like, I'm not left-handed. Why are we taking my left hand to get my drink? That's just a little bit peculiar. Goodreads is not loading. See, this is another thing that Goodreads doesn't really have going for it, is that it doesn't load fast enough. I need to figure out how to find her series. Okay, there are 3 books in that series, I think. So there's Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After, and The Curse of True Love. Curse for True Love. Is that one already released? No, it has a lot of ratings, so I guess it's already released. Well, we're going to put it down anyways. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So I like to put my little dots for each of the books from this end, because then I have effectively, I'm going to say infinite, it's not infinite, but I have more space moving this way. So let's just say that I had have put, I don't know, the Throne of Glass series, started it here or something, then I would have only had 6 dots and been like, oh no, I don't have enough, I need more. But if I build it from this end, I have all of these, and if she just like randomly releases another one, I can put it on the end. I don't think she's going to, but like all good. Let's see. Been saying this whole year. What have we been saying? Have I gotten confused? Live in the outrage. Why are we outraged? Don't be outraged at me. So you'll put in Once Upon a Broken Heart, but you won't put in Fourth Wing. Yeah, because I started Once Upon a Broken Heart yesterday, Monica. I haven't started Fourth Wing, have I? When I start Fourth Wing, I will put it on the list. Not yet, because I have not started Fourth Wing. Let's see. You just got here after filming an unhaul. Oof, exciting. I love good unhauls. I love decluttering. Spoiler alert, okay? Because we've got a video coming up about it, but I just recently did a big declutter of all of the stationery in my office, and I did a rough calculation based on the pieces that I could be bothered looking up. I got rid of over $2,700 US worth of stationery. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel lighter already. And they all went to good homes, and I hope that everybody loves their pieces, but yeah. So I got rid of like all of my acrylographs, they're all gone. I got rid of a whole bunch of journal papers. I got rid of like all of my stickers. All of them are gone. But yes, let's see. Hello Brazil. Love and hugs from New Zealand. This is your first live stream. I'm glad. I'm so glad to have you here. I love it when we have people for their first live stream, when they're just getting into the community. I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna have such a good time. Anywho. So, let's see. Then we have our stats. Now, the issue with my stats is that I decided to do it in a tally, which is fine into itself, but I don't necessarily know which reads I have or have not recorded. And that's a problem. So we're gonna take these guys off, and we're going to take them over to my read list, because this is my full list of reads, so that we can have a consider of what we've been recording versus not recording. So, having a look at my fiction count for the year. How many books do we have that are fiction books? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 reads. Okay, so fiction should have a tally. That's 10, 15, 16. Okay. Non-fiction. 1, 2, 3. Just read from here. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, non-fiction should have 7. So I've only got 1 that I haven't recorded for there. Wait. 91? Oh, wow. Okay, wait, what? 91 books in the series. Shade of a Vampire. Wait, what? 91. I don't think that I'm going to commit to that, but I'm really, really glad that you have a series that you really enjoy. I was having a little bish and a moan to Monica when she said, like, I had to read well, she didn't say I had to, we chose to. She's like, you should read Throne of Glass. How many books are there? 8? I'm like, 8 books? That's so many books. So, we have female authors, male authors. Female, we've got 1, 2, 3. I don't know if F.T. Lukens is a female. I mean, like, F.T. So this is ever after. This is the thing, it's like, I usually just base it on person's first name and make an educated guess. But when they're, what's the word? YA novels, they don't have a bio that specifies, so not specified. All good. They don't get included in either, which is cool. Alrighty, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We only include them once. 4, 5, 6. Tender is the Flesh. I don't remember. Tender is the Flesh, which was quite a good book. It's a short book. Augustina. That sounds like a female name, I think. Yeah. Alrighty. There we go. I was up to 6, right? So, Tender is the Flesh. 7. 7. Okay. All good. Because we don't include the same author twice. So, like, Sarah J. Maas is on here a lot. We don't count her for every single book. Saving your energy to do a declutter and unhaul once you've finished next month's book club book. Nice. I am so pumped to read our book club books next month. So, just in case you're wondering, the JNR Book Club is a free book club. We host it over on Discord. You're more than welcome to join. We actually have a page in here about it. I think it's after the challenges. JNR Book Club, which we will get to in a second because we do need to fill in some stuff on here. But we're doing technically like 2 books in December. The actual winner, quote quote actual winner, was The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. But then the Rebel Book Club has also started up, and we are reading the other read, which they went head to head, and the one that came out on top was The Life-Changing Magic. The one that did not win the book club poll, quote quote, has been taken up by the Rebel Book Club, and that's Atomic Habits by James Clear, and we're gonna read that one too. It's gonna be the best reading month ever. I'm so excited. Okay, male authors. We have, okay, so no, they only get to be included once, I think, because Decisive is by Chip and Dan Heath, and then Make Time is by like John Zaratsky, James Knapp and John Zaratsky. Yeah, Jake, not James. Like, I know it starts with a J. Do we only include them once though? Yes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 5, 6, 7. And then we've got standalone books. Yeah, I love Atomic Habits. It's just, Atomic Habits and The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up are the two books that really got me into the idea of like self-help as a genre and stuff. So I've just always been very like intrigued by the idea based on that. Those two books were the ones that kind of got me into reading them in general. So like special place in my heart. All right, standalone reads. So Decisive. Why has nobody told me this before? Heartless is technically a standalone. Burnout is standalone. So This Is Ever After is standalone. Make Time is standalone. Promises and Pomegranate isn't. Quarter Nightmares isn't. Tender is the Flesh. The New Year's Party is technically part of the whole like universe, so no. Mental Fitness, Superfans, and How to Take Smart Notes. So that's 10 standalones, which is my personal preference for reading most of the time. And then in terms of series, we had the... What do we have? ACOTAR series, Promises and Pomegranates is a series, but I didn't continue the series. Quarter Nightmares is a series. Isn't it? Wait, is it? Oh, I think it is. Yes, it is. No? Okay, I'm checking. It wasn't a good book. I will not be reading the series. Court of Nightmares. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Courts and Kings. It is part of a series. Just a short one that they haven't released more books for, I guess. Question mark. Yeah, I did not rate that very highly. I've lost my place. Okay. We're doing the series. It is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 series. Okay, we've already got all the series in there. All good. A standalone series? Yeah, it's still part of a series though. So like, same with Promises and Pomegranates, like it's technically part of a series, but a standalone series, right? So in my mind, that's still part of a series. And then we have book club reads. We have, what month is it? It's the 11th month, which means I've read 10 of the books. So that one I don't need to count. And then non-book club reads is just everything else. So how many lines do we have? I'm not going to count them. I'm going to be smart and I'm going to use my ruler. Alrighty, so if that is 11.5 centimeters, that is 23 reads. 23 minus 10 is 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yay! So, new to me authors. All right. So we had Decisive, not a new to me author. Why has nobody told me this before? Yes. Heartless? Yes. Burnout? Yes. So This Is Ever After? Yes. A Court of Thorns and Roses? Yes. Make Time? Yes. Promises and Pomegranates? Yes. A Court of Nope. A Court of Nope. Court of Nightmares? Nope. Tender is the Flesh? Yes. New Year's Party? No. Court of Frost and Starlight? No. Mental Fitness? Yes. Superfans? Yes. Court of Silver Flames? No. Midnight Library? Yes. Throne of Glass? No. Crown of Midnight? No. Air of Fire? No. Assessment? No. How to Take Smart Notes? Yes. Alrighty, first time published. I'm not going to look that up right now because I couldn't be bothered, but it's going to be a one-day problem. US-based versus non-US-based authors. I think I can only pick 2 out of this lineup that I know for a fact are not US-based, so that's also going to be a thing that I have to look up. So we can keep those off onto the side. Like, do those stats really matter to me? Not so much. I just thought it'd be interesting to track them. So we can put those back in. They will probably fall out again at some point because these sticky notes are not really all that sticky, but I mainly purchased them so that I could have some little kind of craft paper elements. Like, if I wanted this to be permanent, I would actually just double-sided tape it in, and I think I might at one point, but I kind of wanted this page to be reusable, and that's why it's on the sticky notes. So yes. Going into another meeting. Oh, bye Monica. Have a great time at your meeting. Hi Britta. Glad to have you here. So, let's see. We have stats done. in theory, and up to date. Alphabet challenge. Now, I need to make a choice, because I feel like with this author one, either you do it by their first name or their last name, but some authors don't have two names. So I feel like it should just be first name because it would just make it easier, right? Does that make sense? Yes, I am now trying to think of any book I have read that does not have a two-named author. Then I was also wondering about, like, what about books with multiple authors? Do they just get multiple entries? Is that the kind of thing that we're going with here? Let's see. Where is my reads? Where are my reads? I don't actually have their author names in here, so that doesn't really help me all that much. But I think that my personal preference is going to be for the first names. Honestly, just because it's easier, maybe? Shrug? Is it poll time? Do we need to put a poll up for this? Yeah, see, what about authors who write under pen names? I feel like I'm just going to put it as, like, whatever author name they have on the book. Tink. Because I think it's just easier that way. Let's see. List by first name of first author. Alrighty, they only get one. They get one entry. I think that the hard part about this is that I feel like this might be just me, I don't know, what's the word? You know, when you make an unfounded claim, claiming things unfoundedly, I feel like I'm more likely to find last names that have weird letters than I am to have first names with weird letters. But maybe that's just my mind playing tricks on me. Let's go have a look at my Goodreads list of read books that have been read. So Sarah J. Maas obviously has to go on here because I've read a bunch of her stuff this year and it would just be rude otherwise. So then she would go under S for Sarah. So Sarah J. Maas. And then we are going to put on what? Augustina? A for Augustina? B-A-Z. Baz. Basterica. I am probably saying that wrong, but yeah, see, like, alphabetized by last name, so we'd use last name. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like the only reason that I'm really going with first name is just to safeguard myself under people who just don't have a last name. Or, like, just, you know, have one of those names that is just, like, Madonna. Like, I'm just making it easier for myself in that respect. But I also kind of wanted to keep this to just authors whose book I really enjoyed, if that made sense. Yeah, it is very much just me being a persnickety biscuit. Don't even worry about it, guys. But yeah, so I was hoping that I could keep this just to authors whose book I had really enjoyed. But at the same time, I was then thinking, like, oh, but what if I want to set up, like, a new one of these at some point? Shrug. My idea was that because this was going to be a long-term journal, I would have these as long-term trackers. But now I'm kind of looking at this being like, I think that I might be able to fill these in faster than I had initially anticipated. So in that case, do I want to try and not necessarily, like, get through it quicker, but fill it up faster? That's literally the same thing. I am aware. Like, yeah, not too, yeah, like Q first names kind of a thing, right? Yeah. Anyways, let's continue. So P is for Pat Flynn, and then F is for F.T. Lukens. I think I've effectively decided that I'm just going to put in whoever I've got here. So S could be for Sav Miller, but I've already got an S. So this is for Jake Knapp and John Zaratsky. And the reason they get 2 is because they both wrote the book. And it was the best book. The best book of all time. Let's see. Who else? See, this is the thing. I don't want to put on authors where I didn't like their book, but like, now I've gone and decided I'm doing that. I'm going to do it. Okay, so Matt Haig. It's not that I didn't like Matt's book. Matt did a great job. It was not a bad book at all. I'm more so thinking of the books from this year that I genuinely did not like. Let's see. What else do we have? Why is it only 20 per page? That's just boff. Just do better. Quart. M. Do I have an M? Yeah, I already put Matt Haig down. Then we've got J for Julie Smith, but I've already got a J. See, this is the thing. I've already got all of these names. Where are the other ones? Okay. Like, literally everybody just starts with the same letters for this year. I have done a terrible job. K is for K.A. Knight. And then I guess R is for R.L. Stein. Yeah. I need a V. Tell Vogel to write a book. I don't know if I would want to read that. No. Do you guys have seen Swan Princess? Like, you should write a book. How to offend women in 4 words or less. It would be that. Like, I love that quote. So, yeah, this is the issue. I have read lots of books this year. Because this is probably my largest book total since I was in high school. And by high school, I mean like early high school. So I've read plenty. I've got my 23 reads, but I do not have 23 entries to this because a good chunk of them are from the same author. So Decisive was by Chip and Dan Heath though, and that was finished this year, so it can go on here. And you know what? I don't even care. I'm putting it as Chip Heath. And D for Dan Heath. Haha. Because while I like the idea of the alphabet challenge, I don't know if it's necessarily, like, it doesn't necessarily, like, motivate me to read, you know? It doesn't really make me want to go out and find new people to read books from. If that makes sense. Emily... Nagasaki? I keep on calling her Nagasaki. That's not her name. It's Nagoski. There we go. And then technically her sister, I guess it is, wrote it with her, which is Amelia. Amelia Nagoski. But Decisive strikes again. We love Decisive. It was a great book that nobody read. Let's see. What else do we have on the list? Just so that you guys can see what I see. We will share the screen. There we go. This is what we're looking at. So we've got, again, we're just thinking about books from this year. So we have S for Sarah, done. M for Matt. P would be for Paul, but I already put down Pat Flynn, who was earlier. R for R.L. Stein. A for Augustina. K for K.A. Knight. S for Sona. I know that you pronounce that differently, but I'm not sure how the O changes. Yeah. What else is there? It's 100% that. It's literally like the scene after that. So good. Sarah. And then we have Sav, but we've already got S. We have Jake, which we've already put in. Jake for J. P for Pat. F for F.T. Lukens. E for Emily. M for Marissa, but we'd already put down Matt, so we don't need another M. J for Julie, we'd already put down Jake. And then C for Chip, and that's all we've got. That's it. That's literally the entire list for the entire year. We have no other authors with no other letters. So, that's cool. It's fine. It's only my feelings that you hurt list. This is probably an indication that I need to read more widely, but I don't want to, so I'm not going to. Anyways, This one over here, though, this one is my alphabet challenge for book titles, but I started including titles that were outside of this year because I wrote Atomic Habits down, but now I'm going to read Atomic Habits next month anyways, so I don't think I care. Does that mean this is the life-changing magic of tidying up? And I also put colons here and I didn't put them over there. So rude. But to keep it consistent, we're going to go put colons on each of these ones. Probably could have just typed it in when I actually set up the list, but I didn't think that far ahead, and here we are. We like it when things look consistent. It makes my brain happy. There we go, there we go, there we go. So this is kind of where the idea of keeping things to my 5-star reads kind of came from, because I wanted this to be effectively an alphabetical list-ish of the reads that kind of really just like punched me in the gut. Like, love that. Yes, punching things in the gut is a very positive way to think about your reads. Like, bam, right in the feelings. You love this book. All right, the life-changing magic of tidying up. Because I'm like, if we're keeping this to any year, like if this is my all-time list of favorite books, then things that should go on here really should be like Dogger. I love Dogger. That was a great book. And Each Peach Pear Plum. It's a great book as well. Both of these are children's books. But I love Dogger. It was a great story. Do you guys know Dogger? Have you guys read Dogger? It's effectively a story about this kid who has a toy dog. Like a little, like, it's like a stuffed teddy, yeah, toy dog, and absolutely loves it. And then one day Dogger goes missing, and they like search everywhere, like all over the house. They cannot find Dogger. We have no idea where Dogger went. Sadness, because it's like the favorite toy. And then they go to like some kind of like school fete or a fair kind of thing, and going around the fair, playing games and whatever and stuff. And they come to one of the stalls, and Dogger is like one of the prizes at the stalls. And they're like, how the hell did Dogger get here? But then, just as they find Dogger, some kid wins the game, whatever it was, and then it's gone. Like she takes Dogger. So the kid's crying, like, oh my gosh, like, that kid has my Dogger toy, like, this is the end of the world. So then the older sibling goes over and says, like, hey, like, is there something that we can do for you? Can we give you for, like, for Dogger kind of thing? And then that kid starts crying because she's like, oh my god, you're trying to steal my toy. So, like, traumatic. And then what happens is that the older sibling's like, okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to win you another toy, and we can swap for Dogger. So she wins, like, the older sibling wins this other kid who's, I don't know, a little girl, this, like, giant yellow teddy or something. So swaps this giant yellow teddy for this, like, tiny dog toy, which is Dogger. But then everybody goes home happy. We've got Dogger. Dogger's back, safe. Roller coaster of emotions, but all is good. It's a great book. Another one that's really awesome is called A Fish Out of Water, if you guys have read A Fish Out of Water. And this kid gets a goldfish or something as, like, a present, a gift, whatever. And the person that gives it to them, or the pet shop owner or something, says, like, only feed it this much. Like, do not feed the fish more than this much food, because that's all they need, kind of a thing. So the kid, of course, being a kid's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll totally do that. Totally ends up feeding the fish more than they're supposed to. And then the fish just grows and grows. And then the fish gets too big for its fish bowl, so they put it into a bigger fish tank. And then it gets too big for the fish tank. Like, this is only from having eaten too much once, right? And so it outgrows the fish tank, so they put it into a bathtub. And then it's too big for the bathtub, so they have to, like, put it into a swimming pool. And then it's too big for the swimming pool. I do not know how they fixed it. I don't know how they reversed it, but the fish was not having a great time. These are the stories I remember. Okay, this is now as we're on a side tangent. Yes, you can put my distraction counter up. But for the last couple of years, my mum has been asking me, like, every so often it comes up in conversation. It's not like she's been hounding me about this. But every so often in conversation, we've talked about this toy that I had, which is called Morgan. Morgan's a teddy bear, right? Morgan was my first teddy. Like, you like pop straight out of the womb. Here's your first toy. That was my Morgan. Okay, so Morgan and I were inseparable. We were thick as thieves. But then Morgan went missing. I had no flippin' clue where Morgan was. So Mum would say, like, oh, I'm sure you had Morgan when we came to New Zealand. And I'm like, I have not seen Morgan in so many years. And then every time this would come up, we would like kind of talk about like maybe Morgan got donated, maybe Morgan got like taken away or something like that. Like he's lost. Anyway, so literally yesterday, my mum sent me a picture of this. And let's see if you guys can see it. Okay. She sent me a picture of this box that she pulled out of the storage kind of shed that she has in the backyard. And this is my shitty handwriting from 2007. So mum sends me this message and then she's like, yep, so this is the box that dad pulled out, like, what's in it kind of thing. I'm like, I'm curious, like, you let me know. And then there's like opening up the box. And that's my doll blanket. And there's all my toys and stuff. And that's Washington. And this is the bat from Anastasia, Bartok kind of a thing. And yep. And then they're like, oh yeah, you're going to take this home at Christmas. I'm like, great. But guess who was in it? My long lost, my baby Morgan. Oh, so cute. I love it. I'm so glad that Morgan is going to be coming back into my life. I was so worried that he got, like, I don't know, donated or something, but he's such a cutie. This is the t-shirt that they gave us on this, like, graduation bear when we, like, graduated primary school, but the toy was ugly, so I just stole the shirt and put it on Morgan. Anywho, so I know you guys really care, but yes, Morgan is coming home. They're going to be safe. They're going to be back with me. I'm very excited about it. Anywho, story time over. Let's get back to the thing we're actually here to do. But yay! Happy reunion! Round of applause. Also, I'm thirsty, so tink. There we go. We're in New Zealand as Mum. Mum is in Melbourne, in Australia. So we're going to Melbourne for Christmas and I can be reunited with my Morgan. Roller coaster of emotions. So I don't think I have much else to add here. I mean, if we're just adding books, I really enjoyed The Assassin's Blade. I thought it was a fun read. Where am I? I'm in Wellington. Yeah, bottom of the North Island. Let's see. Top reads. Throne of Glass I gave 4.5, so you can go on here. Throne of Glass. There we go. And let's see. I don't think anything else really deserves to be on there. What else do we have? Okay, so Quarterpist and Fury we'd already put over. Make Time we've already put over. Super Fans is S. We can put that on. Have you guys ever had a book that's just kind of like ruined other books for you? Like, because it was too good? Not in a bad way. Like, the book was just so good. It was too good. And now every other book can never compare to that book. And that's what Make Time was. Make Time was like, just, it was just great. It was just such a great productivity, self-help kind of book. Because it's just like all of these little tips, all just jam-packed into one book with all of the kind of like boring fluff stuff taken out of it. Like it had enough there that you understood the context of what they were talking about. And then it had all of the little actionable tips. I love actionable tips. It made me so happy. But it ruined other books for me. Because every other non-fiction read we've had in book club this year has been compared to that one. I think that's... Let's see. Fun, yep, that's cool. Throne of Glass, Assassin's Blade. So, this is the problem. Because this one's a quart of. Like, all of them are a quart of. So they all sit in C. T for Throne of Glass, A for Assassin's Blade, but Atomic Habits is already there. All good. Let's see. Yeah, you've read some perfect books, like Kushil's Dart. I haven't heard of that one. Let's see. You're loving your 24/24s list? Yay! I'm glad that you liked the concept. Yeah. I'm curious to see how I end up tackling it in future years, because obviously in this journal you only have 13 centimeters across, or 26 spaces. So it really only works up until 25/25s and 2025. And then beyond that, you don't really have a lot of space to record things. I mean, we're already looking a little bit kind of thin on space in terms of, where's my journal? We might as well look at it with the actual example. It's just a little easier. But see how these guys, they actually start to go into the last section of the notebook. Like this part here isn't actually part of the doc grid. So next year if I do it, all of these will take up an extra line and I don't technically have that space for it. So I'm like, do I tweak it? Do I do 20/25s in 2025? Or do I do like 20 things 25 times in 2025? Anyways, yes, distraction counter. I'm sorry, Deb. Get back to work. There we go. Yeah, gotta go with the square or B5, but I love my Starry Sprinkles notebook. Okay, this is the page that I in particular was like, I need to fix this. It is not working. And that's because I didn't put anywhere to record which books were for which prompt. And that's not like necessarily the worst thing in the world, but I only want to use each prompt for one book. Or like, you know, each of the ones on here for one prompt, each of the ones on here for one prompt. So I don't really know which one is which. Yeah. Someone's gonna moniker me in her absence. So what I want to do is I want to make a little tip in that I can flip out that actually tells me what each of these are, which means that it needs to be 25 boxes down, and it needs to be big enough to record the titles. So this is not going to be big enough because it needs a space to actually stick in. So I might need another piece of paper. I was also wondering about whether I use white or if I use craft, but I thought the craft, like, while it matches kind of better in terms of color, I thought it might be too dark. Craft or white? I'm gonna let you guys decide. You let me know, craft or white. I'm gonna go get some paper. Whee! Squeak, says the chair. All of these pieces of white have something on the back of them, so I can't use them. And that one's long enough. And that one I can't use. Ow. That looks plenty big enough. That's because you're from a B5 notepad. Let's see. So, one for craft, one for white. One for craft, two for craft. Another for white, another for craft. Off white. I need to put that one over there. Let's see. White, then another for craft, and then white with a tan highlighter. See, because that's what I was thinking. I could do like every second line or something on the white paper, but I don't have the ability to really do that for the craft. And then where I've used craft in other places in the notebook is usually for headers, but then like, well, I guess also for the sticky note. But most of the writing space has been on white. And that's why I was like, alrighty, Britta's not here to ask for a poll, so we're just going to pretend she did. And we're going to put a poll up, because we love a good poll. Alright, I need to make sure that this doesn't talk at me though, because I don't want it to talk at me. Indulge Britta and do a poll. Alrighty, we're doing this for Britta. Which colour for the tip-in? Craft or white? Okay, so just to reiterate the options, we can put craft in, not on this page though, we need to look at it on the pages on. We can put craft in or we can put white in. If we do white, we can use the tan colour and do every second line. We can't really do that on the craft. Okay, so having a think about which one kind of looks like it would match better, and we will put the poll into action. Action! because I have so much of this paper. Like, oh, okay. Right out the bat, white's in the lead on 64%, 69%. Craft is in with 33%. Oh, now it's on 41. It's contested. Nope, it's going back down to 39. 42% for the craft, 59% for the white. Yes, that's bad math because the numbers keep changing. We have 31 votes, 36 votes so far, 34 votes. What the heck? How does that work? 34 votes, 39 votes. We're on 62% for the white paper. Ooh, it's coming in, it's coming in. Alrighty, I know you guys don't actually have to have an opinion for this, but what I do need is something to stick it in with. So I'm going to grab out some washi tape. I'm gonna keep it fairly neutral. I might just use a white washi, possibly. I've moved my drawers around and I can't find things anymore. I want the washi to not kind of clash so much. And I don't want it to distract from the overall layout. I could use a grid, maybe. Like I could use like this color, possibly. I mean, that wouldn't be too bad. When you mentioned the highlighting, it changed it for me. Very good. Yep, see. It matters, it matters. I think that maybe this one might be a nice kind of neutral-esque kind of thing, so we'll use that one. Because this one I think it just looks a little bit too dark and distracty, but this one seems to match the pen color a little bit better. Maybe. I think the grid will look nicer. If I use the white... Oh, gosh, you guys have swung the other way now. We're on 52% for the craft and 48% for the white. That's very close, though. I feel like we need some more votes. All right, you guys are allowed to have opinions. Tink, I want to hear them. Alrighty, what do we reckon? So, white with a tan highlighter. We've got craft, because the white would be too stark on the paper. I think the thing is that once you put the... For instance, if we did this one, we'd go through... Put it here. And we'd highlight every second line. So it wouldn't look too stark. This is just a rough example. This is just an offcut, so I don't really mind that it looks a little rough. So it would kind of end up looking a little bit more subdued rather than so punchy white. But I was just wondering if the craft was maybe too dark, but I'm not really too sure. It doesn't really bother me either way though. You need to change your vote to white because you didn't hear the part about the highlighting. I don't know if there's any way to actually change your vote once it's put in though. Isn't that the sad thing? We've got 75 votes% so far, and it does seem that the craft paper is coming out on top, which is surprising. It's an upset, isn't it? Because the white was a strong lead before, but nope, not anymore. So for whatever we put in though, we're going to use this tape, and I think that we're going to make it kick out to the side. Do I want it on the side or do I want it... I could always make the tip in the same as this and then just write in each box what the thing was. That's an interesting idea. Paul didn't show it for you until you'd clicked it. Oh no! So rude. See. Sounding like a hockey announcer from reading the percentages. Yeah. I'm not like super good at it, but I enjoy the I don't know, the fun of it, I suppose. So I'm thinking I need to find some more craft paper because this is the biggest piece of craft paper I have, and that is not going to be sufficient. So 25 divided by 2 is 12.5. I need 12.5 centimeters down to write on. Yeah. You vote on the craft and you change your mind to the highlighting too. Alrighty. I think that it still has been the one that's won is going to be the craft paper. Let's see. You can kind of see-through tip-ins on top of the squares. I was thinking about like some kind of a see-through tip-in type thing, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to have like text overlaying itself, if that makes sense. I kind of would like to be able to... I'd like it to be opaque, only because if you have text over the top of this, then it just kind of looks like a muddle of text. If that kind of makes sense. I need some paper, which means I need to go and get some out of the cupboard. navigate the minefield that is the stuff in my office right now. So, for this one, we're going to use my Neapolitan notepad from the Archer Olives. Plonk. Kaplonk. You can see that it has been well loved, but like an entire section missing now, which is, I don't know, an achievement. Actually, most of my craft paper sections are missing, you can see. All of those craft paper ones are gone, and all of these craft paper ones are gone, because craft is the paper that I in particular use the most, because I've got so many white offcuts from when I've done Dutch doors and stuff like that, that a lot of the time I don't need to use a notepad paper piece, but the craft paper one, I only really have it from the notepad, so I have lots of it. New member, Shelley! Yay! Welcome to Team Tiny Wins. That's so exciting. We're such blessed people to have you here with us. Thank you for joining. We love it when we have new members to the team with a capital T. And I apologize if you're actually already part of the team and it's just telling me you're new, because YouTube does that. Rude. You know, while I'm trying to get this out of the notepad, if anybody wants to join the T with a capital T, because team with a capital T is it's a good place to be. We have a bunch of different perks depending on what level you join. You can join by just hitting the join button that is like, I don't know, next to my name on the like video watch page. Or you can jump over to the channel like as a whole, like, you know, the actual kind of web page for the channel. And then there's a memberships tab in there. That one kind of explains what each of the different tiers are. Like if you press the join button, it doesn't just like sign you up and charge your card instantly. It asks you which level you'd like to join, because we have a variety of different tiers with a variety of different perks. But anywho, we're going to pull out our piece of paper carefully so that we don't rip it, looking cute. And we need to make sure that we measure it up accurately. So my thinking is that we're just going to, because they're just going to be written out as a list, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Or we can put it over the top like a kind of cover Dutch door, and then I could draw up a little grid and we could put it in the grid. Those are kind of the different options I'm thinking of for this. So either it's just a list, or it's a square that sits over the top of the bingo board, and then you kind of flip it open and be like, haha, that's what the prompts actually were for. Ideally, it would have been the other way around. Like the prompts would sit on the top and then you'd open it and be like, okay, those are the reads. But I didn't do it that way because I did not think of it when I set it up. Yeah, you reckon that the page is too dark for white and it would take away from the bingo board. See, because I kind of feel like the bingo board takes, like the darkness of this paper takes away from it. But the tribe has spoken, right? That's what we do. This is a democracy. So, do I want a list or do I want a grid? If you put it in the middle, can you have notes for both on one tip in? That's a very good point. So then it'd be like, hey, this way you get to see the ones for this one, and then this way you get the notes for that one. Ah, you are such a smart cookie. I love it. Excellent. Round of applause for that. Here you go. Tiny claps, because that's what we're going to do, because then I don't have to stuff around with multiple lists. So we need 12.5 down, which nicely enough, we could probably do that from this if it was more than 12. Alas, it's only 12. So close. So we're going to do it this way. And we're going to do 12.5 and then give ourselves a little bit of buffer so that we have niceness on the bottom. Where is the pen? Seal. Preferably a pen seal. There we go. We have 12.5 and then 13, so we're going to cut along there. We need some scissors, which everything has moved around in my office, so I need to I need to figure out where I actually want to put it so it's the most accessible, and all of my stationery bits. I used to have a little tin that would hold my stationery. It would sit over here, over in this corner. But I got rid of that tin, I gave it to Vogel, and I used to have all of my pens, well not all of them, but the most used ones would be in front of me in little drawers here, but now they're on the other side of my L-shaped desk, over there. So things are not where they have always been. It's a little confusing. There we go. We'll cut this off. We probably do not need quite as much space as I have given myself. I'm wondering, I'm just going to do it on this piece of paper as a test run. Like if I tried to highlight it, yeah, it doesn't really do very much, does it? It kind of looks exactly the same. So not a lot of point. We'll save that for another time. We do love a good second line highlight though. So how big do we actually want to make this little Dutch door type tip-in piece? Probably not too wide. Doesn't really need to be too wide because it's just writing the titles of books. So probably roughly the same width as either this one or the longest book title we have on here. This one's a little harder to tell though because I've also put in author names. So we'll do it based on this one. According to this, we have about 6.5, 6-ish centimeters, which is the biggest being, why has nobody told me this before? So if we make our tip in roughly 7-ish, because it's going to take up a little bit of space to actually stick it in, so maybe 7.5. So that'll bring us to there. Yes. Get our little pencil out. Doesn't need to rule it the whole way up, just a little marking so that we can then use the dot grid to cut it off. Nice and easy. There we go. So this little guy here, we're going to need to round off the corners so he looks presentable. Do you need to put a number to reflect the prompt? I might put the number beside it then, rather than putting it in the dot grid, because I was originally going to cut off the side of this, because yes, you are right. We do need a space for the number. Alright, we need the little trimmer. So, little corner around it. Apologies for your ears. Alrighty, hopefully not too bad, because sometimes the noises are loud. I'll put that in the recycle. Gorge. Okay, so, numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Gorge. That's on one side. Make sure that it's nicely dried up. And then on the other side, I think I'll have the numbers along here. Or should I have the numbers along there? Because I'm just like, I like the fact that it took up a little bit of extra space so this doesn't look so wide. But at the same time, I feel like I'd rather just write the numbers on the left-hand side for whatever view I've got. So I'll put that there. Or should I put it here? I think I'll put it here. And then we'll stick it in like that. And we'll be gorgeous. And we'll love it. Okay. So the question is, what's your best tip for people who are just starting a bullet journal? I have a video on it actually. I think it's called my unconventional advice for bullet journal beginners or something like that. That's because everybody says like, oh, you know, start simple, just start with the basics. And I'm like, yeah, that's really fucking boring, like, to put nicely. So my advice for somebody who's just starting out is effectively try all the things, but do so with a lens of self-compassion. Like, your first journal is such an exciting experience because, like, yeah, we're really getting into it, like, you know, doing all the things. I've, like, seen all these layouts online. I want to try them for myself, and that's awesome. And I'm all about trying all the things. But just remember that not everything is going to work out, and that's okay. Like, it is totally fine to try a layout, like, give it the good college try, so to speak, and it doesn't work out for you. It's fine. All goods. Just make sure that you treat it like a learning experience rather than treating it like a failure. I don't think of a lot of layouts in my journal as being fails. I like to think of them as, like, what did they teach me about how I actually like to journal, if that makes sense. That is not in the right place. There we go. So I think I saw a question about stickers and such. I will answer that question in a second once I read the question properly. I'm just trying to line this tape up so it doesn't look stupid. The nice part is that the tape is kind of see-through-ish, so I can kind of see where the edge of the piece of paper is going to sit on the tape. I'm just trying to line it up nicely. Alrighty, question was, where do you get all the stickers and stuff? Great question. So the majority of the pieces that I'm using in this one, when it comes to the stickers in particular, are from a combination of Stationery Pal and Journal Say, both of which I think are listed in the like want a discount section down the bottom in the description box, because we love savings. We love savings. But in terms of other elements that I've got on this one, like this washi tape in particular is from the Washi Tape Shop, also linked in the description box below. The backing paper that we have on this layout is from a paper pack that I got at Spotlight. So that's like an Australia-New Zealand brand rather than a more widely available one, I think. So this one came from like a vintage paper pack of some description. There we go. This on here, this on here. But it's a kind of eclectic bunch. The only things in here that are really stickers, I think, are actually the little floral designs that we had on places like the index and the, I'll flick back to it in a second, I'm just sticking this down. The index and a couple of the other pages. Most of these are actually just washi tape pieces that I've like torn up. So this guy here, he's a washi tape. This one is a washi tape of some description. That's a washi. That was cut out of a washi tape. I think most of those ones came from Journal Say. I think I've got those linked in the description as well, in the kind of like, you know, stuff that I used section or whatnot. Break my wrist trying to get a piece of tape cut off when we could just use a craft knife and it would be a lot easier. There we go. Gorge. Yeah. And I think the really nice part about this, having it taped in at the middle rather than on the sides, is that it's going to be so much easier to write on this because you have the actual notebook to lean on. If you've got a tip-in that flips off to the side, especially one that you're trying to write on, it's a lot more difficult because there's nothing there to kind of actually prop it up. I find that for tip-ins that go off the side of the notebook, I usually like to reserve those for reference materials, like, you know, a reset checklist or something like that. Yeah, anything that's not linked in the description might be in the original setup video, but I did copy it over from the original setup video, so hopefully it's there. It's got the majority of stuff. If there's anything in particular that you're like, no, you know, wanting to know about in, you know, specifically, I can try and find it. I can try and help you out. Because I remember where most things came from. But not all of them. If you go back through any of my stationery haul videos, though, that's where the majority of pieces come from. So, cute. So cute. Love it so much. We've done a great job here. So for this guy here, I think I'll just put the numbers on the left because I think that it's just a little bit more user-friendly. You write it right beside the number because you're going to write that one right beside the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I really like how this tape matches. I think that it looks like, you know, it's not the same as the stuff we've already got on the page, but it doesn't clash super lots. So I am pleased with the choice that was made here. 22, 23, 24, 25. Excellent. Also, tink. Yeah, I know, right? The scrapbooking paper I wish was thinner, but I mean it is scrapbooking paper, which is why it is as thick as it is. Which means that my journal is quite chonky now. Like this part of the journal in particular, you can see how it like divots in on one side, and that's what it's supposed to do. This one is rebelling and pushing out because there's so much of the thick paper at the top of the journal in particular from when I've done headers. So like this header here is a scrapbooking paper piece. So it's that like 160 or more GSM, very thick card kind of paper. It's not great when you're putting layers upon layers of that in, because this one here has it, and then this guy has it, and then not that one, that's washi tape. This one has it, so on and so forth. But yeah, these stickers here, these are from the washi tape shop. It's a set of 4 rolls of washi stickers. Absolutely beautiful. I love them. They've got this like little gold shine to them. I don't know, can you see the gold shine? It's there. It's beautiful. Anyways, so those stickers in particular were very nice. But a lot of these are washies. Those are all washies. Those are paper pieces from Stationery Pal. This one was from the Archer and Olive subscription box. This guy was from Journal Say. The fact that I can remember most of these is like, I don't know if that's like a good thing or kind of sad, because it means that there's other stuff that my brain doesn't absorb that is being held by that information. Okay, not quite, but still. Anywho. Now, I don't know which prompts I have used for which books yet, except for this one. Wasn't worth finishing, but I did. I do know which one that is. So that is number 5, 10, 12. That is Court of Nightmares. Court of Nightmares or A Court of Nightmares? I'm going to base it on what I wrote down. Court of Nightmares. So number 12 is Court of Nightmares. And with that being said, there were people in the book club who did very much enjoy the book, so it's just not my speed. It's not to say that not everyone would not enjoy it. There we go. Words. Let's see. And also remember that when starting out, you don't need all the supplies. I mean, sometimes it's not a matter of need, it's a matter of want. I mean, what? My Tombos, I bought at the time, the full Tombo set was 96. I bought those after bullet journaling for like 2 weeks or something like that. I would not necessarily recommend doing that, because that is quite a lot to spend on pens for a new hobby that you're trying that you're not sure if you're going to stick with. But thankfully, I did stick with them, and I love those pens. This one gave me a book hangover. That's a good thing. Like, it doesn't sound like a good thing, but it is a good thing. I think that one was a Court of Mist and Fury. It would have been, because that one I was just like, I can't even function in the world right now, because I don't even know how to function in the world. A Court of Mist and Fury. I enjoyed that book. Let's see. Oh, you got the Noir Rose collection. Nice. I do love the kind of dark romance vibes of that one. It's beautiful. Read in a day. Which book did I read in? Oh, that would have been Make Time, because I had to read it the day before book club. Because I just didn't get around to it. Make Time. So the reason that we're putting these ones in first is so that then I can go and consider which other ones I have hit with my current reading lineup or whatnot I have done. Multiple POV. I think that I put that down as a Court of... What's the word? I can't remember. That'd be 20, but it's a Court of something, so I'm going to put it down. Ha ha ha. A Court of... Wait. Have I done this wrong? I must have done this wrong. I need to go and look them up, because I can't remember what the titles of these books are. A Court of... That's a count. You can read and or write. No, she can't. Alrighty. A Court of Mist and Fury. A Court of Wings and Ruin. Wings and Ruin was the third one, right? It was the third one. Rachel, help. Frost and Starlight is multiple POV, but I think I put it down for Wings and Ruin, because I was like, oh yeah, we start with like one character's point of view, and I'm like, that counts, right? But I mean, I might just have to do. I'll just do Silver Flames. It's easier. It honestly doesn't matter. You said Silver Flames. We'll take it. A Court of Silver Flames. See, this is the thing. I didn't actually record them, so I can change my mind. Now, I strain from eye rolling. I love that so much because I do that a lot. Maybe question a belief. Been meaning to read for ages. Under 200 pages. Book turned into a movie. I don't think I have any of those. Yeah, Frost and Starlight is like that little mini one, eh? Which it counts. Frost and Starlight is more. Yeah, okay. Because Silver Flames at least has 2 characters, so we'll take it. Now, surprised by my rating. Are there any books in my lineup that I was surprised by my rating? I don't think so. It's one of those things that, like, you really have to have an idea of what you're going to think about a book before you go into it to be able to be surprised by something. And I don't think that we're any that I kind of had enough of an opinion on going into it that I actually would have been surprised. I mean, no, that one we can't do because we already picked it. Goodreads Choice Award winner. I have no idea if any of these have won any kind of award. Maybe. Let's go see. Nobody. Why has nobody told me this before? Wasn't that like an award winner at some point? Yeah, that was the Goodreads Choice Award nominee for Best Nonfiction. So it didn't actually win Best Nonfiction. Because the winner was Atlas of the Heart, which I have not read. I don't even know what wins. Let's go have a look at the Goodreads Choice Awards. That's probably the best way to do it. So this is the best books of 2022. None of these are ones that I have read. So do we just go best books of 2021 and see if that changes things? 2021. Haha. Yeah, guess what? Silver Flames is on the list for that one. Wah, wah, wah. So I guess I can't use it for that because I've already written it down for number 20. So that doesn't work. Okay, so best books 2020. 2020. That's the one. Okay, the Midnight Library was on there for that. So we can put the Midnight Library down. That works. Okay. So, Goodreads Choice Award winner. You can colour that in with our little Tombow here. Go. Looking cute. Okay, Thorns, Mist, Wings, Frost, Silver Flames. Thank you, Pam. Appreciate it. Because, yeah, I just call them, in my mind, Akatar 2. Because it's just a little bit easier, honestly. Let's see. What did we just say? That one is 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is it called The Midnight Library? Yes, not just Midnight Library. The Midnight Library. The chances of me actually getting a bingo by the end of this year are slim, but it would be kind of nice. A book that was overhyped. I don't think I had one. Oh. Maybe. I might have one that was overhyped, but if Monica's lurking, she might be angry at me, so I'm not going to put it down. Because she'll be sad. I don't know. Because effectively in that respect, I'm looking for something that was more low. Which for me kind of would have been maybe the Midnight Library, because I only gave it 3 stars. But I guess that's not like a bad rating. I mean, I don't think it's a bad rating. 3 stars is like, yeah, it's a solid book. It certainly was a book. Read because I had FOMO would have been, see, that one would have been A Court of Thorns and Roses. We can put that one in. I do very much value having this in here though, because otherwise I just like wouldn't fill this in because I don't know which ones I've already read. Yeah. Any of the fiction choices from this year didn't meet expectations. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. I went into those reads not thinking... Okay, that doesn't sound right. Not thinking that I would like them is not what I mean. But it's more like I didn't have an expectation of how much I was going to enjoy them. So it's like, you can't really have... I'm doing badly in terms of explaining this, but hopefully you get what I mean. We'll just leave it at that. A court of Mist and Fury, court of Silver Flames. All the courts are going to be down here, it seems. Court of Thorns and Roses. That one I read because of FOMO. Uh-oh. Monica has heard her name. Because what was the one that I was thinking about? It was the overhyped in particular, right? Okay, overhyped. I was kind of thinking possibly that maybe for the overhyped one, I could put Air of Fire and hope that Monica doesn't disown me as a friend. Because I just, like, it was, like, okay. Like, I gave it 3.5, right? But its average rating is 4.46. And I was just like, I don't think it deserves a 4.46. That seems a little high. If you say Throne of Glass, you're going to be sad. It's not so much like... Okay, yeah, does it have to be fiction? Because Burnout, you make a very good point. Alright, overhyped. I don't know, was Burnout overhyped? Because I didn't really know about it until I read it. It was more like it was recommended to me, so we put it on the list. I didn't really think it was kind of hyped. Maybe I'd be like surprised by my rating for Burnout because I expected to like it. I think that one I kind of expected to like it more than I actually did. Yeah. Remember, bingo is a straight line across the board. You don't actually have to fill it completely. I know, right? Like, some people say that you have to fill it completely, because I always thought of a bingo as, like, a first full row, but a lot of other people take a bingo to be, like, the whole board, which I'm just like, that doesn't track for me. Smart Notes was disappointing. I mean, I don't know, again, I'm not sure if it was overhyped, though. Okay, we're gonna leave overhyped. We're gonna see... We're going to think about it. I'm going to need to write a sticky note, otherwise I'll end up using things up. And I don't necessarily want to use them up for that. Okay, where's the sticky note? I haven't organised these drawers well. So I'm thinking the contenders for overhyped. Okay, so overhyped, my nice scribble writing, is either, what do we call it? Air of Fire. Because I was kind of like, like, it was okay. It was okay. And then the other one was Smart Notes, maybe. And the other one was Burnout. Mate, actually, you know what was overhyped? I mean, just, like, scrap all of this. It was the, Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? That was overhyped to me, alright? Because, like, again, I think that it is probably really good for people who haven't done a lot of reading in the self-help kind of space, but as someone who has, I was like, people have definitely told me this before, like, to be completely honest. Why has nobody told me this before? Because that one in particular, I was wanting to read it because everybody was saying it was so good and, like, it was getting really highly rated and stuff like that. And then I was kind of just like, like, it's okay. Alrighty, we have a question. Question. Okay, how much further back do I have to go? Because I don't read things. Alrighty. Sure. Wanted to ask if you had any tips for a family schedule spread. Found your work spread and loved it. Maybe wanted similar for the fam. Family schedule spread. I guess it really depends on what you want to see in relation to each other. Because if you're thinking family schedule just in terms of, like, what day of the week are people doing things on, then I think something like a monthly calendar that's color-coded could work really nicely. It also depends on how many family members you have and the size of your journal, I suppose. If you're thinking of it more like in terms of a blocks of time type thing, kind of like a weekly layout, then something with like a time ladder. Again, I'm big on the idea of color coding for different people. It just makes sense in my mind. If that kind of makes sense. So when I color code my schedules, it's very much based on like work is always blue. Anything that's kind of like personal just for me is in pink usually. Anything that's social is purple, kind of a thing. It just makes it a little easier. But if I was color coding for people, I'd probably make it so that blue would be for Vogel, because that's like his favorite color. And then purple would be for me, because it's my favorite color. But yeah. Let's see. Didn't realize there was one. 4-hour work week. That was overhyped. I probably could have counted that, yeah, but because I'm trying to keep this to things that I read, so that's why we've left it off. Let's see, do I have an example of a family schedule somewhere? I think I do. Somewhere in here. This is what we had as one possible layout idea, is if you don't need it to be calendar view, but you just wanted to have like what are people doing on certain days of the month, you effectively have your list of the numbers of the days and then a column for each of the people, and depending on how many people you're looking at, you'd have to go kind of like across. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. So column for each person to say like, hey, on this day my partner is like in the office, on these days my partner is at home, on these days my kids are, got a field trip, or like whatever it is that they're doing. So that's one possibility. Otherwise I probably would just do it like a monthly log and then have like different colored dots or different color highlights for different people or something like that. But anywho, Rainbow Narwhal has a question. Alrighty, let's scroll back. We'll find the narwhal. Scrolling. Did I... Oh gosh, was it from a while ago or was it from like recently? It's literally right there. I'm such an egg. I was like, oh, it must be like 7 years ago. Nope, it's here. So what is a reading journal? So depends on what you like to do in it. For the most part though, a reading journal is just a place to kind of document your reads, yeah? So a lot of people do like to put in book reviews, or they like to put in things like, their TBR and stuff that they want to read. Like what, this guy over here. So list of books that I would like to read at some point. They'll put in things like, which books did they actually read? That kind of thing. But most reading journals that we see online do have some kind of element of doing reading reviews in them. So they might print off a book cover and then write their notes and feelings about the book. They might decorate the page if they want to. Really just depends on how they want to tackle it. I do not like writing reading reviews, so I don't have any of those in my journal. Mine is mainly just these kind of like fun collections to kind of gamify my reading in a way. Just make it a little bit more fun. Not to say that my reading wasn't fun, but because I was already having fun with my reading, I was like, hey, let's make a reading journal and like amp up the fun factor. That's kind of what it's for. So yeah, people will either use it to remember the things that they've read, or as a way to kind of document the stuff that they want to read, or a combination of both. Yeah. Also, dink. Let's see. Yeah, this is making me want to finish my bingo board or your Aurelium. See, I finally decided, I came to the conclusion that I have not tackled Aurelium correctly this year, so I started pulling the layout out. Like this one was, something was stuck in. Where is it? I think I threw it into the bin. I threw it on the ground. I had it stuck in and I pulled it out because I decided I wasn't doing it and I need to just start again. But I've already written this part into the journal, so I'm gonna have to like stick something over that, but that's a future me problem. That's a page 30 me problem. But I'm enjoying this part. This part's going well. So yeah, it might be, yeah, I find that like this for me was just some kind of unfiltered creativity time. And that was just so badly what I needed at the time. At the time of setting this up, I was in a huge creativity slump. I was feeling just like shitty about myself, honestly. I had been like sucked into the comparison trap and I was just like not feeling it. I was getting sick of my journal that I was using at the time. I was using a Traveler's and it was just like not the right size for me. So jumping back into a size that I was more comfortable with and just being creative and just making these kind of layouts that are effectively just for fun was exactly what I needed. And as part of that, it got me really excited to read more. I've since gotten into a bit of a reading slump, and that's why we're back in it today. I mean, that and the fact that the team with the capital T voted to see this, because we love the team with the capital T, and they always have the best choices. So let's have a think. We also need to think about read in a physical form. Have I read anything in a physical form this year? No, I'm pretty sure I haven't. I don't usually read things in a physical form, so we'll see if I can get it done before the end of the year, because technically speaking, the 2 reads that we've got in December, I do actually have physical copies of. So, anywho. Read as an audiobook. There we go, we'll put mental fitness down for that, because he's not going to go anywhere else, because it was not my kind of book. It was not my kind of book. There we go. Beautiful. So that's number 2. Let's see. Started the book read? Yes, I started it yesterday. I'm like half a chapter in. I have not gotten very far. We were watching Ted Lasso and Vogel got up to go and do something in the kitchen, so I read a little bit while he went to do that, just so that I could say that I have technically started it, yes. Read as an audiobook, we're going to go with mental fitness. We'll put that in. Gorge. Alrighty. Technically, all reading is a physical form. I like the way you're thinking. I do technically, by that one, mean like I have a physical copy of the book rather than a digital copy of the book, but still. Let's say, aw, you're happy to catch it live. Yay! I'm glad you're here for your first live stream. That's exciting. Thank you for being here with us. In terms of under 200 pages, I don't know if I have anything that was under 200 pages that I haven't already recorded. Let's see. Oh, that one's 209. I could have done, like, I was like, oh, maybe Tenders the Flesh will fit with that, because that one was quite a quick read. But, yeah. Mine's just sitting next to me glaring at me, so you picked up your phone instead. Oh, no! I think that I effectively want to have this list over here, so that I can use it to just reference without having to flip back and forth. So I'm going to see if I can make a copy of this. Please hold, caller. Just note, this is your opportunity to go to the bathroom if you need to. Grab a snack, stretch your legs, or don't. Just sit there. That's cool too, because that's usually what I would do. But I'm going over here. I'm going to try and make a copy of this list so that then I don't have to keep flipping back and forth in my notebook. Though my printer is a piece of crap, so we'll see what happens. Copy, just document, that's fine. 1. Thinking about it. We'll see how far it gets. Now, I should have just done this earlier for all of the other times that I needed to have this list of books when we've been filling in my journal. There we go. Beautiful. Thank you so much, printer. Okay, question. Do you guys have this thing where your printer just like refuses to print in black and white, even when it has, like, it's got black ink, but one of the colors is out? It's like, oh, I don't know, the magenta is off. I can't do it. The vibes, they're not here today. So, here is the list. And we can cross them off as we do them. So far, we have already done mental fitness. Mental fitness is done. We have done, why has nobody told me this before? We have done the Midnight Library. And we have done A Court of Thorns and Roses. Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Wings of Ruin. We've done Court of Nightmares, and we have done A Court of Frost and Starlight is not done. Court of Silver Flames is done. For reference, where did you get your little bulbs you use out next to the core pile categories? Oh, the little, like, the blurbs. Yeah, that was from Book Roast on YouTube. So she has a Excel document or like a Google Sheet or something that you can download to rate yours, and in that document she has these little blurbs, and I just took what she wrote in the little blurbs and wrote pretty much word for word in here. Some of them were slightly different. These ones I kind of made for myself because I wanted this to be more specifically targeted towards the types of non-fiction reads that I use. Yeah, see, I usually would just use my phone, but I want to be able to tick things off, and it's just a little easier. So, let's see. Made me ugly cry. I'm sure we can find one on this list that made me ugly cry. I've probably already actually done things for them. Because technically the only one of the courts that we have, because that's where I did the majority of my ugly crying, was in the courts. We've also done Make Time. But I think the ugly cry one in particular was probably A Court of Mist and Fury. And that one's already been accounted for elsewhere. Frost and Starlight, no ugly crying. Throne of Glasses and stuff like that, I don't think I've done any ugly crying in that series so far. How to Take Smart Notes is a pretty good contender. Certainly ugly cried, but only in my soul, not out loud. Damn that bloody book. Again, the information is good, it's just the actual book itself, it's not the vibe. So, ugly crying when you finished, yeah. Before the coffee gets cold too. Oh. I don't know, sometimes it's very satisfying to just have a good ugly cry sometimes. Sometimes it's just what the soul needs. Like, get it all out. Okay. So, are there any on here that have multiple authors that I haven't already recorded? Decisive by Chip and Dan Heath, done. No, I want to check that in terms of number of pages. What else is another short book on here? I think that, what's the New Year's Party? That might be a short enough book by R.L. Stine. Let's see. 193 pages. Okay, so under 200. That's 14. The New Year's Party. So that book in particular was one that really just kind of, like, as a young high schooler, kicked off my love of R.L. Stine books, in terms of not so much R.L. Stine, but more so the Fear Street series in general. Like, big love for that series because of that book in particular. Before that, it was more like Goosebumps. So, let's see. Jashie, there was a certain scene with a certain group of people in Throne of Glass, without giving away spoilers. Then I said that I cried. Okay. There was probably a certain scene in that book where I cried, but did I ugly cry? That is the real question. Or was it not so ugly crying? Was it like one womanly tear? Or was it the ugly cries? I feel like I need you to just, like, direct message me which scene it was so that I can remember, because I have a bad memory. So I will eagerly await your message if you want to help me out with this. And now I've gone to Instagram and I'm getting suckered in. Don't let me do that. Don't let me do that. I know, right? Fear Street was a great series. I loved it. Where do you get the page counts for ebooks? I literally just went and looked it up on Goodreads. So if we go over here, I can show you what my L5s see. I do not have L5s. But I just go and search the read up on Goodreads, and then it tells me here, like, 193 pages. I'm like, excellent, that counts. I'll take it. Makes it easier for me, especially because depending on, like, what kind of size you're reading on an e-reader or whatever, it changes how many pages it actually takes up, which is just not so helpful. Let's see. Check your DMs. Excellent. On Insta, I hope is what you mean, because that's where I am. I did cry. I don't think it was a really Now I'm thinking about it, and now I'm sad. Why did you have to send? I know, I literally just asked you to send me to bed. But I did cry during that. I don't think it was enough to count as ugly crying, but I did definitely cry there, because that was just rude. Okay, I think the one that I'm going to put down for deserves more love, which might be a controversial opinion, because technically it's not, like, lowly rated, but this is mainly just from my conversations with a certain, I don't know, person who's in the chat. I am going to put down that the book that deserves more love is The Assassin's Blade in the Throne of Glass series, because I thought it was really good. Like, what did I rate it? I rated that 4.5 stars. And technically speaking, that is not all that far off for that book. In terms of the Goodreads rating. It's just that a certain someone who suggested possibly that I should read this series didn't give it as much of the love that I think it deserved. So that is number 5, 6, 7, 8. Boot scooting baby, trying to make a rain. Assassino. Yes, it would be you, Monica. I was not calling you out, but I was very specifically calling you out. Because I thought it was really good. Let's see. Number 9 is multiple authors. So the one that I was thinking of for that was Decisive, but I wanted to check that there wasn't anywhere else that... Oh, I haven't actually coloured in this guy. I was like, surely we've done more than this. Surely. But no. Ooh, over 500 pages. That's a big book. Have I read anything that's that big yet? I don't think so. I've been reading mostly small books this year. Well, smallish. Not too big. Haven't cried while reading about a book, but MASH series final gets you every time. I cry at the dumbest stuff, I swear. Like, every so often I'll find a certain song that gets me very weepy. Mainly in particular when I try and sing along with it, which means that you get the kind of the shaky voice where you're trying to sing along with something because you enjoy the song, but then it's making you very sad. Not very sad, but I don't know, emotional enough that it's just sad feelings. Alrighty. Legit laughed out loud, book turned into a movie, over 500 pages, took over a month. This one is going to end up being Queen of Shadows. Yeah. Make Time is a great book. We love Make Time. You read Crescent City, I'll see you next month, and it would count. Yeah. Does Make Time have over 500 pages? Wait, I feel like I've missed something. Make Time does have multiple authors, but Make Time is already for number 10, which is read in a day, and I can only use one book once. Sad face. What did we just put down? Okay, Assassin's Blade got put down. Under 200 pages we've put down, and we've already ticked it off. I just need to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I've ticked everything off that I could tick off. Let's see. So Decisive can count for Made Me Ugly Cry? No. Surprised by my rating? I don't have a rating, so no. Learned something new? Yes. Multiple authors? Also yes. Legit laughed out loud? No. Squee? No. Book turned into a movie? Sadly not. Took over a month? Yes. Over 500 pages? Pretty sure it isn't. Book turned into a TV show? No. I strained from eye rolling? No. I'm sure I can find something else in here where I was eye rolling more. Read in physical form? I did do that one in physical form, and I think that's the only one that's going to count this year for physical form, possibly. And been meaning to read for ages? No. Made me question a belief? No. So, you have pretty good coverage, but so far I don't think there's anything else that I will have read in physical form, but I know that I do have 2 books coming up this year that I have read in physical form. So I probably won't put it down for that. What was the one that I was just thinking about, hey, I don't have anything else? Took over a month, I've already got kind of reserved. So this one is going to be... I feel like I need a piece of paper. Okay. This one is going to be Queen of Shadows. This one is going to be either The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up or Atomic Habits. which means that it's probably multiple authors because I don't have multiple authors for anything else. Okay, so Chip and Dan Heath, number 9, decisive. There we go. I'm being decisive. I committed to putting it in there. There we go. So we can colour that one in. Multiple authors. Beautiful. I don't think I have any books turned into movies on my list so far, do I? And I don't have any books turned into TV shows. So those ones I don't think I'm going to be able to do this year. I missed writing one in, possibly. Which one did I not write in? Where it is an audiobook. Overhyped. Oh, suggested by a friend. You're right, I did forget one. What was suggested by a friend? Probably A Court of Anything, so stuff it. We're going to put Frost and Starlight in there because it's technically a suggestion from a friend. My bad. A Court of Frost and Starlight. Though I technically would have thrown a glass in there as well. How annoying. Okay, it's fine. Isn't that a bingo for the second row? Yes, second row is technically bingoed now. But we're going to keep going. Because I just like the idea of filling in as much of it as I can. 11, legit laughed out loud, okay. Wasn't worth finishing, but did. Squee, under 200 pages, book turned into a movie. This one's going to be Queen of Shadows. This one is something. Read because I had FOMO, gave me a book hangover, multiple POV. Book turned into a TV show, don't have that. I strained from eye rolling, I'm sure I can find something in that list. Oh, no, that's going to be Promises and Pomegranates, isn't it? Because I eye rolled pretty hard in that book, multiple times. Okay, so that's number 22. Promises and Pomegranates, which I can't spell. Granates. There we go. Done. Promises and Pomegranates. You think you might join the December's book club? Yay! That's exciting, and you're reading Tidying Up. I love it. I love that book. And I hope everybody loves that book. I know that not everybody will love the book, because not all books are for everybody, but I hope that people can have some takeaways from it and feel good. So, strain from my eye rolling. Because much eye rolling was had with that book. There we go. Excellent. Look at me filling things in. Proud of me. Been meaning to read for ages. Made me question a belief. So is there anything that on my list that I've been meaning to read for ages? No, I don't think so. Well, technically, how long is ages? Okay, this is a good question. When you think of like something that you say like, oh, I've been meaning to read that for ages. How long is ages? Like, what is the minimum amount of time to be considered as ages? I can't do Court of Nightmares. It's already on here for number 12, which wasn't worth it, but I finished it. Like, dink. Alrighty, you reckon a year? Okay, well in that case, I've totally got one that fits the bill. Because I don't know, for me, ages is... Okay, this is a similar vein of thought, and yes, you can put my distraction counter up. When somebody says like, oh yeah, so the other day, blah, blah, blah happened, and the other day could mean like last week, or it could mean 2 years ago. Like, those are the options. Like, yeah, any movie or TV show adaptations. See, that's the thing, like, I haven't read any of those, but I would totally read, like, I would read something for them, but it's not like... How do I word this? I don't typically read things based on what's on this list. Yes, I realize I just picked up an Allen key randomly. We've just got it. It's part of it. So I don't typically pick my reads based on what's on my bingo. I just read something and go, hey, did it fit my bingo? So you guys reckon 6 months, over a year, alrighty. I'm thinking that if over a year is the bill, then technically... I've been meaning to read Tender as the Flesh since March last year. Because Rachel read it. and it was the book club. It was the one of the book club options that didn't win, and she said it was good. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll read that. I didn't mean to read that, and I read it this year, so it counts. That was number 24. Tender is the flesh. Okay, let's see. Book. Yes, Shadow and Bone was literally the first one that came to mind for me as well, because that's one I'm like, oh yeah, I'll read that one day maybe. But I don't know about a lot of other book, which way does it go? Book to TV show adaptations. Book to TV show adaptations. Alrighty, Big Little Lies, His Dark Materials, Good Omens, Game of Thrones. No, don't read that. The Handmaid's Tale, don't read that. I'm a little bit biased. The Queen's Gambit, I've watched it, haven't read it. Hunger Games, that's obviously a movie. Shadowhunters, yeah! I would totally read Shadowhunters. I found the TV show very enjoyable, even though it was not good. Heartstopper. I would like to read Heartstopper. I'm putting that on my TBR. On my TBR. See, they're my only 2 recommendations. But you're not going in recommendations, Heartstopper. You're going over here. I don't know who it is. Alice C. I don't know her last name. Heartstopper. I don't think it actually starts with C, does it? It's an O, right? Heartstopper. Alice Osman? I'm gonna look it up. Alice. This is when people go like yelling at their screen. It's not even Alice. Alrighty, Alice Osman. O-S-E? Thank you. Thank you very much, Lorraine. There we go. Shadowhunter show was at least passable. I know the movie was not passable from what I heard. But the TV show just like... Anytime somebody said Clary's name, it made me cringe. But I loved that show. It was just one of those like... I don't have guilty pleasures, okay? I don't feel that it is necessary to feel guilty about what you enjoy. Unless what you enjoy is... morally not good or whatever, but I don't have any of those, so I think we're okay. But yeah, I just very much enjoyed that show, even though it was not by most standards quality. It's okay though. So learned something new. I guess I could chuck Superfans down for that, or I could chuck Burnout down for that, technically. I think Burnout was more like it made me question a belief. Not enough to change what I thought, but it was there. So we'll put that down. Burnout. And then Superfans would be number 4. What did I rate Superfans? 4.5. It might have been too high. It was a good book. But was it that good? I don't know. And this is where the problem comes in of rating things too close after to like finishing them, because I'm pretty sure I rated that one like pretty much as soon as I finished the book, and I'm like, now as I look back on it, I'm like, does it actually deserve that high? Je ne sais pas. There we go. So I think that is about it for that one. I feel like I would like to put these 3 somewhere though before we move on. So was I surprised by my rating of Crown of Midnight? I think if anything, I was probably surprised by my rating of Heir of Fire, because Monica liked it so much and I didn't. I'm going to put that one down as surprised by my rating. And the thing with Laughed Out Loud is that there are going to be books that I totally had that, but I did not necessarily take note of them. So I was surprised by my rating. I decided that was going to be Heir of Fire. Now, if I was to reword this prompt, it's less about being surprised by the rating and more about being surprised by how much I did or didn't enjoy it based on what I was kind of going into the book. That kind of makes sense. Like what I was thinking going into the book. Shrug. So, legit laughed out loud. There were some. I don't know what it was. Squee. There were some, but I don't remember which one they were. Book turned into a movie, can't do. Over 500 pages. I don't think any of the ones I have remaining were over 500 pages. But we can tick those off. Let's see. Where is my reading list? Things that Jess has read. That she has left. Heartless. Do not think that was over 500 pages. It did feel like a bit of a slog though, but no, it was only 453, alas. So This Is Ever After, definitely not over 500 pages, because that one I'm pretty sure was shorter. That's only 352. Throne of Glass was also kind of midgy, so I don't think that's going to count, but we will open it up and check, because we are being thorough. And Crown of Midnight, similar idea. Don't think that was big enough. How to Take Smart Notes felt like it went on for too long, but I don't think it did. Yeah. 432 for both of those, and then Smart Notes. Where are you? There you are. Oh wait, oh dear, oh gosh. Okay, that was 178. Yeah, that. Wait, seriously? That book was only 178 pages? That book took such a long time. Ugh. Anyways, whatever. We don't have any that are over 500 though, so we can take this away. But then also bring it back, because we have the other side of the bingo board. So when I do my bingos, I consider the board to be like separate, right? This one is specifically just for, I say specifically, this is the general one, okay? This is the general look at books and reading. This one is the specific one and is specifically tropes, okay? So we're thinking about from different worlds, betrayal, everyone is too attractive. I like that as a trope. Because it just amuses me. I think I might keep these sticky notes here so I know they're reserved. Who even knows? Who even knows which books I said were which ones? But these ones can only really be my fiction reads. So we're going to highlight the fiction reads so that they are easier to pick up in the lineup. This yellow mild liner, you look fine. I'm sure this will be okay. So, Heartless. So This Is Ever After. Court of Thorns and Roses. Promises and Pomegranates. Court of Mist and Fury. Court of blah 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 blah. New Year's Party. Court of Frost and Starlight. Silver Flames. Midnight Library. Throne of Glass. Crown of Midnight. Air of Fire. Assassin's Blade. Okay, so these are the ones that we're allowed to consider. Air of Fire was over 500. Really? Seriously? Maybe that's why I didn't like it. It felt like it dragged on too much. Air of Fire. Problematic. Because I already used it for something else. Dang it. It was 576. See, this is why we were planning it out. So I kind of knew where I could put things. What did I even end up putting that down for? I ended up putting that down by surprised by my rating. It's fine. I will survive. She lied. Okay, so I already have some of these that are already filled in, obviously, but I can't necessarily remember which one is which means that we have free reign to just choose other things. So maybe, like, for instance, tragic backstory could be the Assassin's Blade, because it's literally a backstory story, so that would work. Yeah, Heartless was too long at 432. Yeah, I would kind of agree. I felt like the middle of that book dragged on more than it needed to, but here we are. I think that tragic backstory was probably also what I put down Heartless as, because that's kind of like a backstory story. OP side character was definitely something in the A Court of series. Possibly that might have been like A Court of Wings and Ruin, maybe. Friends to Lovers. That would have been So This Is Ever After. I just, before I write them down, I just want to make sure that I'm thinking about it, because we saw what happened over here. Let's see. Oh, Monica, you can't leave. You need help. But also, bye. Have fun with your dog. So, Hidden or Secret Identity. I feel like I need to pick out the ones that are going to be the hardest to fill and do those first, because that's probably the smartest way to do this, right? So hopefully you guys have read some of these books and you can help me out. Okay? Yeah. I feel like surprise villain I don't want to tell you which book it is because I don't want to spoil it for you. But I have one in mind. So, we'll leave it at that. Which one of these is going to be the hardest? I don't think I have any best friend siblings books, so we can already rule that off. That's not one that we need to do. And there's nothing in here, I think, that has a best friend sibling vibe. So we can put that there. Is your tropes map on Patreon or Discord? It is on my shop. It is linked in the description box below. It is like the first link in the description box. Because it's a purchasable thing. Let's see. Forced proximity. We probably have one of those. Chosen one. Okay. To be honest, I wrote this down when I looked at a list of a whole bunch of tropes, so I don't even know what these tropes necessarily look like, and that is why I need your assistance here, because you guys are much more knowledgeable than I am. So, like, what counts as fake dating? Like, what counts for some of these? Do I have... I think the most of them I can probably fill. So it's just that one in particular that I don't have. We need a drink break. Tink. While we have to think about our choices. One bed is Mist and Fury. That makes sense. But does Mist and Fury fit anything else? Because that does totally make sense for Mist and Fury. Because I don't think I have anything else with one bed, do I? Yeah, so we'll keep that for Mist and Fury. That one is number 14. Excuse me while I turn. A Court of Mist and Fury. We don't have that in any of the other ones, and that is why it gets to sit there. So, to make sure that we're keeping on top of things here, yeah, I don't have anything else for one bed, hey? We're going to cross it off. So then we know that it is done. There we go. You're done. You're done. Okay. So that one's nice and easy. We can colour that in as well. What others do I have that only really fit the bill for one book? Because in my mind, forced proximity totally counts for, like, a Court of Silver Flames. Because it's like, yeah, you two need to go off and do this thing. And you're like, but Mom! Like, but then I'm like, does that actually count? In the world of people who actually read fiction, does that count? Je ne sais pas. I'm like, I feel like I should do New Year's Party. Because that one is one that probably not everybody has read. But then I should also probably just, like, change it. Actually, I think that one totally fits for Surprise Villain, and I'm going to put it down. Because I don't think I have anything else that's, like, super... Oh, no, I have one other one that's totally Surprise Villain. So now I feel like I should keep it in for that one instead. But then I need to think about if we have it for anybody else. So, because most of the tropes that I picked are kind of, like, fantasy-esque related, but then, like, the two that I'm thinking for Surprise Villain are not what I would call fantasy books. No, they're not fantasy books. Well, one of them might be. No, it's not. Anyway. Do I have any mistaken identity books? I don't know. Just sits here and stares at it. Yeah, see, I was thinking about Surprise Villain for that one too, but I think that I can pick other tropes that one fits with that would be better. Everyone is too attractive. I totally put down for Promises and Pomegranates. No, I put it down for Court of Nightmares because she was just harping on about how everybody is like the most beautiful man she's ever seen. And I'm like, which one? Because you've already said that for the last 6 of them. So this is number 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is going to be Court of Nightmares. And yes, I am very aware that I am picking I'm like really laboring what I'm choosing here, but that's because I am inclined to overthink things. Let's see, you reckon that Heartless is the love triangle? Yeah? Heartless. Heartless. I mean, I don't know. How forbidden is a forbidden love? Like, what does that count? Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Because I was like, you know, from different worlds, quote, quote. What was I crossing off? What did I just write down? Court of Nightmares. Goodbye. Done. Okay, so just in case you don't want spoilers, this is the time to close your eyes because I'm going to point out the two that I think that would be a fit for surprise villain. One of them we already mentioned was a news party and nobody's going to read that. But the other one that I was thinking potentially for surprise villain, and you guys can let me know if you agree, is this guy here. Just because of the ending. So I'm like, maybe. Alrighty, I'm not pointing at it anymore. If you don't want spoilers, you can open your eyes again. But that's what I was thinking for surprise villain because I was surprised. So I'm like, yeah. See, because with the Heartless love triangle, I didn't think of it as being too much of a triangle because it was very, like, it's like a triangle that has a side that is just, like, not really part of the vibe. So I'm thinking we're gonna go with Forbidden Love for that one. Which is a song I haven't listened to in forever. That one's from Madonna. Alrighty, so that's number 22. It's going to be 22. Heartless. There we go. Okay, you agree. Good. Alright, we're going to do it for that one then. Which we're just going to, I don't know, try and not eliminate a whole bunch of things so that then people know exactly what we were talking about anyway. I'm going to put this over here so that we can see them next to each other. So I know that I need to save one of the A Court ofs for the OP side character, and I think I'm going to make it A Court of Wings and Ruin. That makes sense. Okay, Court of Wings and Ruin is going to be number 11. And Ruin. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Yep, that kind of makes sense. Done Heartless. Court of Wings and Ruin. We can cross that off. There we go. Ha ha. Court of Frost and Starlight. What even are you? Is that like a found family book? I think that makes sense. I'm gonna do that. Because I think that kind of fits the vibe. It's like the holiday season, that kind of thing. Everybody's like, you know, hanging out, being a little family unit. 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. A Court of Frost and Starlight. It's one of those things that I know that this is my bingo board. It's my bingo board, and I can put things in where I want them to go, and it really just, you know, matters in terms of like whether I interpret it to fit the trope, but I do want to still do it properly, you know? As somebody who is not widely read in terms of fiction reads, I don't want to put something down in a place it doesn't make sense to go, if that kind of makes sense. There we go. Okay. I'm going to put down the Assassin's Blade for Tragic Backstory because I've already used Heartless. So that one is going to be number 9. What did I just say? The Assassin's Blade tear. I'm bad at remembering whether books have like the mini word at the start, like the or or stuff like that. In Blade. That was number 9, Tragic Backstory. Done. We can cross that one off. I also don't think I have one that's peril-induced relations. So we can probably put a sticker over that as well, because I don't think I actually have one that fits the bill for that. Put that there. I also feel like the Midnight Library isn't necessarily going to work. I mean, you could possibly put the Midnight Library down for assumed hatred, but like, usually these tropes are with relation to people who are end up being kind of romantically related with that kind of relation with each other, but the assumed hatred in this one is more like a friend. So I guess that doesn't really fit. So This Is Ever After is going to be my Friends to Lovers. That is 12. That's kind of the entire point of the book. So this is Ever After. Done. And okay, which ones have I highlighted and not done? So we had From Different Worlds. I don't remember which one I would have put for that. Okay, maybe that was A Court of Thorns and Roses, because that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Okay, yeah, parallel universes. Okay, that also kind of works. So if I ended up putting a Midnight Library for From Different Worlds, then I need to try and find my assumed hatred somewhere else. Which I don't think I have any other ones that, maybe Promises and Pomegranates could be kind of assumed hatred. That book was very, non-impactful. Thus, the lack of star rating. And then Throne of Glass kind of works. I mean, it depends. If we're thinking about From Different Worlds in terms of, like, literally, physically from a world that is different, rather than from, like, if we think about, like, class system type of a thing, that would be different. Is there a love triangle in Throne of Glass? Like, weak. Like, it's hinted at, but not really. I mean, if anything, I would consider the second book to be... It's not even, like, really a triangle, because it's very much like a this and then that. So, hard to say. Did we end up with a triangle somewhere? Did we already put the triangle in? I haven't coloured it in yet. Okay, we haven't put the triangle in. Because if I was going to do a triangle... That one doesn't really fit. Those two are like weak, but possibly not. That one doesn't fit. Those two don't fit. That one doesn't fit. That one doesn't fit. Yeah, I don't think I have any triangles just yet. I mean, in terms of the bingo board itself, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 reads that are... Word. Fiction. 16 fiction reads, so I can't fill out the board in its entirety anyways. So it's not like I can actually put everything in yet. Anywho, let's see. Who is left? Who do we have left? I'm just going to shove them in different places. I'm going to put down A Court of Thorns and Roses for this first one. Court of Thorns. I find this is very typical of me, to be very meticulous with things and then get towards the end and just be like, let's just shove them in. Thorns and Roses. Done. And then we're going to say that assumed hatred can be for... Midnight Library? Yeah, okay. It's not like a lovers type thing, but it is technically like there is an assumed hatred there. So that's number 20. Because she kind of ends up like projecting her own thoughts onto other people. So that one's done. And then A Court of Silver Flames. Do we have anything in there? Which ones have I done? This is the problem with the list versus the board. Okay, I haven't done Betrayal. Who has Betrayal? Okay, well that actually works quite well for a certain one as well. I'm going to go with... I'm not going to put them in because I don't want to spoil them. I'm not going to put it in because I don't want to spoil it. Yes. Which means I'm actually going to leave all of them and we're going to move on to the next one because, again, I don't want to spoil the reads for you. That just makes me feel bad. So we have reading prompts. I don't have any additional reading prompts that I really want to fill in at this stage, so I'm going to leave this one as well. But effectively, anytime I come across a reading prompt that is of interest to me that I could use in like a reading challenge or something like that, I jot it down on this list. If you have any reading prompts in particular that you have come across that seemed interesting or ones that kind of felt novel, I would be very curious to hear about them. So I guess that's the question of the day. What's a reading prompt that you've seen that you've enjoyed, or a reading prompt that you've seen that kind of stuck out as like, oh, that's a really curious way to think about it. So I think that ones that I've seen that were quite good were the idea of it has to include certain word in the title. That one's always kind of interesting. Or ones that are based on like some kind of like act of chance is always quite interesting. There we go. Oh, I'm glad that I was good company while you were making your shortbread. Now I'm hungry. And did your weekly spread. So I don't have any reading prompts to add today. What we do have to update though is the J&R book club. So over here are our kind of head-to-head battles of the books. So each month for the book club, we put forward 2 options for the poll, and then whichever one comes out on top is the one that I actually put on top. So I usually write this in after we've picked what they're going to be. So the books that we have for this month are The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up and Atomic Habits, and the one that won is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Hi, Vogel. Woo! Yay! Vogel's just loitering by the door. What's up?
I just was wondering when you finish for lunch so that we can go watch some Ted Lasso.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, we've been going for a bit, haven't we? I didn't really notice. Okay. I have some pages left to go, but I'll be with you soon.
10 minutes?
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Alrighty. So, we're going to say this one is The Life Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. And this one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. There we go. Even though it's super late. Oh yeah, I'm glad that you're here with us doing our reading journal, book journal, streaming stuffs. So, we need to make this dry because I do not want to turn the page and smudge it. But this is like this is actually completed now. This layout here is done, which is very exciting because most of the other layouts that we have in here are ones that, they have a longer lifespan than just 1 year. This one is full. This makes me very pleased. We need to dry it off. There we go. I could actually probably just blot it with the other one here. There we go. I hope it doesn't smudge things. But as said, the book club is technically going rogue, or at least part of it is. So some of us are also reading the runner-up option from the poll. So the actual book club is reading The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. The Rogue Rebel book club is also reading Atomic Habits. If you want to join the book club, it's over on Discord. We do actually have an introduction video about how we're running it this year, and there will be another video come out at the end of this year welcoming people to the new book club, but that one's over on Discord and you can find a link in the description box. Anywho, this guy here is my 23 in review, like the year in review kind of layout, where I was planning on writing down like how many books did I read in each month, how many page totals do I have, that kind of thing. But I was going to calculate all of that at the end of the year rather than doing it as I go, because I wasn't too sure what scale to put on this axis, because I didn't know how many pages realistically I was going to read. Because although I set this up in, August-ish kind of a thing, my highest total reading months were in like September. I think August and September, but by that point I didn't know how many pages were in each of the books. So I didn't want to put a scale on here and then end up having it either like way too high or too low or whatever. In terms of this guide, this is going to be my fiction versus non-fiction like breakdown, which again have to wait till the end of the year to do. Top 4 books for the year. This guy though is my little book awards. So just thinking about different categories that I can kind of put books in to say like, hey, you were my best, you were my worst, like whatever. So ones that I have so far are like biggest hit in the feels, so ones that made me feel the emotions. Best takeaway points, kept me up way too late, biggest book hangover, book with the most pages and the least pages, book I finished the fastest, book that was such a slog, which I have a certain one in mind for. And then I have a couple of other ones here, and I know that I got some suggestions for people like when we did the reading journal setup video, so I'm going to go over there and see if I can find some ideas for the last one, because I would like to have this ready to go for the end of the year. So we'll just jump into the comments. This is the problem, is that like once I respond to them, the comment disappears. So I can't necessarily find them. Okay, so my cat has joined while watching the live. Aw, yay. But also, yeah, it's hard to journal around pets sometimes. So, ideas. Fun creative project. I'm like kind of reading my response first, because often when somebody had a good suggestion, I said, oh yeah, I'll have to add that one in. Let's see. Is the book club age restricted? Technically, I think it would. We don't specifically restrict it in terms of age, but I would probably recommend that people are 18 or over, only because some of the reads we have deal with more adult themes, if that makes sense. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll the whole way down because there's quite a few comments on this video, and I do like to respond to the majority of them. Find idea. Oh no, I'm on the completely wrong page, and I looked up ideas in like I, which is not what we need. Find idea. Okay. Yes, feed the page ideas. Okay, so funniest book, saddest book, book most likely to be read again. I like that. Do I have that on here? No, I don't, so I'm going to put that down. Most likely to reread. And there is a good chance that one book takes up multiple of this, which I think is fine, honestly. Ideas video, good ideas, rah, rah, rah. Okay, somehow I only got 3 on here, but that's Lie, Slander, Salamander. Okay, we've got Made Me Cry, Most Expensive, Future Classic, World I'd Most Want to Live In, Most Hated or Loved Character. Alrighty, we're going to say Best Character, which is effectively going to be like either the one that felt like the most relatable, or like just the most enjoyable to have around or whatnot. That seems reasonable. And then we've got, this one could be like a tiny prompt, which could be like worst character. This is book with the shortest title, so that it would actually fit into this space. And now I need a brown pen to put in that dot, and I do not remember which one it was, so I'm just going to pretend it was this one. Haha, I guessed right. Yay for me. So one more prompt. One more. I know that I've got a heap of them in here, I just need to find them. And for reference, just so that you can understand what I'm doing here, because it's gonna, It's going to take me a second. I am currently going through my video comments and just trying to find the ones that people have told me an idea. Because it's just a little easier. Interested in page ideas, people enjoying the map, which is always nice. Little look in the back end of my YouTubes. Rating scale. Changed my thoughts. Book with the biggest I can't read. Book with the biggest surprise, I think, is a really good idea. Because there was certainly one that fits the bill for that. So we're going to put that one down. That's an excellent suggestion. Yeah, so that's kind of like the idea of like biggest plot twist, biggest surprise kind of thing. I'm going to put like biggest plot twist. I like the way that reads. I can't write plot twist. I wrote plost, but it's fine. Plost twist. Oftentimes, the effort spent to fix a mistake just draws more attention to the mistake. But you can see here that I totally wrote plost. Plost twist. All good. But, having a little flip through of what we've done so far. So, we have had a look at the stuff at the front, didn't need to update anything here. We've actually gone and added in my TBR entries. We've got a couple recommendations, even if maybe they didn't give it to me directly, it was still something that I was putting down. We have officially confirmed I have a DNF and it is the 4-hour work week. I'm just not going to get back to it. Gone through and put in a rating here. We have my quotes that hit didn't need any updating. We've updated my stats so that's actually up to date and put in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series for the series tracker. Added some things to my challenges, in particular putting this tip in, which I think is an excellent addition for my book club bingo. And then we've got reading prompts that didn't need any addings, added in the things for the book club, and then chucked on the rest of my book awards. I think for my next year's book awards, we're going to need a lot bigger of a section because you guys have great ideas and there are more awards that I'd like to give out. I am going to skedoodle and go watch Ted Lasso with Vogel because I'm hungry and it's lunchtime. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Our live stream for next week is for the team with a capital T only. So if you're part of the team with a capital T, I think in particular if you're in progress over perfection or up, then I will see you next week. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Goodbye, gorgeous humans. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for being here.